Hey everybody, it's Adrian Glenn with Military Grade Automation. We are back with another video. Today we are doing day 7 of the 30-day 30 app challenge. Today is an anime app, and without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into it. If you guys are checking out the video, I really would appreciate a like, comment, and subscribe. That really does help out a lot. But yeah, let's get into it. All right, so let's check it out. So anime app. This is the details of today's app. So comprehensive anime database with reviews, watch lists, and recommendations. Here's a couple details about the app, but we're going to dive right into this one though. All right, so we are on Replit.com. And the first thing I'm going to do, let me get that out of there. That was actually just a list of the apps we have prepared, but this is the PRD project requirement document. This document, move that over there. So this document is used with a mock-up image, which we have right here, right? And I created this project requirement document with ChatGPT, just gave it a couple of details that allowed it to create that document for us. And basically, I just let it know we wanted an anime app that can track some anime details. And the more project requirement documents you have, you can always use them as references and things like that. But yeah, I'll also be providing this project requirement document and the mock-up image, which is right here. I'll be providing both of these at the end of the 30-day challenge, so you can actually make this app as well. And I'll also be adding in the app we end up with. So all I did was drop in that project requirement document with that mock-up image, and I click start, and we're going to go ahead and generate that app now. So there's really no code required throughout this entire process. I saw a comment today, seemed like someone thought that I was trying to scam people, and I don't really actually know anything about software development. Just want to put out there, I put information out there a couple of times before, but I was a senior infrastructure engineer at Wells Fargo. That was my more recent role. I have over 10 years in the technology field, and also I have a bachelor's degree in computer science. So a lot of people are scamming on here, to be honest with you guys, but yeah, I'm actually genuinely just trying to teach people this information because I think it'll be very useful. All right, so all we did was drop in that project requirement document and that mock-up image, and we are here now. It looks like it's creating that app for us. So this is what it gave us back. Titled the app Anime Explorer. Initial version, a mobile-first anime exploration web app with Crunchyroll-inspired design, featuring anime discovery, character profiles, and fun facts, powered by the Jakan API. So Jakan API is just one of the many APIs that are pretty much just a database that we can use so that our app can get different pieces of information. We used a TMDB, which is a movie database for our movie apps that we created. There's also a Twitch API if you want to add Twitch into your website. There's another one for YouTube. A lot of major sites just pretty much have an API that you can use, and you just give your app an API key that you can generate depending on what site it is. But yeah, you just need to find the API key for whatever API you want to use and give that to your app through Replit, and it'll just go ahead and complete that process for you. It's actually really cool because if you need to reference a certain API, it'll let you know, hey, if you want to pull this information, you can use an API, and it'll actually let you know the exact website that you can go to pull that API up. So super useful, super useful. But yeah, you can see right here, it's giving us that initial version, and it's breaking down a couple of the details that it's adding into the app right now. So splash screen for the home page, an anime library with posters for each anime. We'll have search functionality, filtering by A to Z, sorting by popular and release date, detailed anime pages with descriptions, cast and trailers, and character profile pages with bios and known for sections. All right, cool. So it'll add a good amount of details. There's also more details that it'll recommend that we can possibly add later if we want to. But it just starts basically with the functionality, like everything that we would need to have the app solid. And then from there, we can add more details. Like you can see, we can add a dark mode. We can add a favorites list where we can save our favorites, featured anime of the week section, and interactive trivia quiz game. So there's a couple things that we can add into the app, but let's just get that foundation done really quick. So it's loading now. It's actually creating that app for us in real time. No code required. None of the apps that we build during this challenge will have any code required because I just want to make sure that this is accessible for anybody. If you are amazing at software development, you'll definitely get a lot from this challenge. But if you've never done anything related to software development in your life, you also will be able to do everything that we're completing for this challenge. So I'm really just trying to make a gateway for people to get into the tech field. And yeah, all right, cool. So you can see it's creating the character page, and the character cards are pretty much just going to be probably images per each anime or something like that. That's usually what these cards are. Like if you go to Netflix, a movie card would be each individual movie that you can click on that card and watch that movie from there. Things like that. That's just some technology language that we use in the software field. Problem with this scrolling. It does struggle with scrolling sometimes when it's still loading. Yeah, you can see that's not letting me get up there. It's probably still creating that actual page. Yep, so it's still making that page. But yeah, so basically you just drop in that project requirement document, like I said, drop in that mock-up image, like I said, and it'll start generating your app for you in real time. The project requirement document is really just, that's the thing that is really valuable as far as creating your app. And it doesn't take that much technical ability, really. It just takes a lot of imagination. You pretty much just have to be able to think about what your app would look like or what you would want your app to look like, and it'll allow that to be created for you. So while we're waiting, let's check out some details of what we added into the PRD. So like I said, we added in that basic detail. So this is what the app is in general. So it's an anime explorer, a sleek mobile first website. And this is just like basic details, immersive layout, things like that. But down here, this is very key. It's designed to be completed in under 24 hours on Replit. So you definitely want to let Replit know that you want the app completed within 24 hours, because a lot of times Replit can over scope. We call it in scope and out of scope. So in scope would be everything that you feel like is logical to add into your app, far as what you think you can complete. And out of scope would be everything that isn't necessarily in your range of factors or different capabilities that your app would need to make it work, right? So for instance, if we had iTunes, right, in scope is play music, right? Out of scope for iTunes was watch movies. Right, they added movies in, but originally with iTunes, you couldn't watch movies on it, right? It was first thing was music. So our in scope right now will pretty much just be finding animes and things like that. Out of scope could be watch anime on the app. It could be different things, like we could add AI integration, like a trivia challenge where you could talk to different people from different animes and the AI could simulate those different people. There's a lot of different factors that we can add in, and throughout this challenge we're just experimenting with different out of scope factors, I would say. We always make sure the foundation of the app is solid, because I just want you guys to be able to actually use this use these streams to really make these projects yourself. But outside of that initial scope, I'd like to test things out with the Kai Cenat app that we created. We added in an AI Kai Cenat where you could talk to him and he make jokes and things like that. So definitely like to get creative, but it's always important to maintain your scope, because usually when people use an app, they only want to use an app for one thing, and they want it to be direct and simple and easy to use, because as you guys can tell, we will probably have apps that can do a million different things right now, right? Like, why doesn't DoorDash do anything besides let you order food? And that's just because people only want to use DoorDash to order food, right? So staying in that scope is very important. Knowing your customer base and really just moving correctly and intelligently with your time. Because another factor about getting out of scope when you're building an app, it takes time to get out of scope. It takes a lot of energy. So want to definitely keep things locked in because time is money. All right, so we can see this front page here that it created for us. This was literally 100% created with Replit, and yep, like 10 minutes pretty much on the dot. And this is what it gave us, right? So you can see we have a lot of different animes in here already. Each of these pages has a really sleek look. Okay, we have recommended anime that are similar down here at the bottom. This looks nice. We have different characters that are in this show. And if you click the character, then it'll actually give you a cool little breakdown about them and some details. And we can click fun facts and it'll show us these different details right here, right? Like voice acting. Many popular anime voice actors have performed in multiple hit series, creating connections between different anime universes. Okay, so this is really generic right now, right? But you can see the amount of detail that it added in just on that first go. All right, so it says it has a quiz here. I'm guessing this doesn't work. Oh yeah, I can see right here it says coming soon. So yeah, this quiz portion isn't even functional yet, but it gave us a good amount to work with from the beginning. So that's really nice. All right, so that was the fun fact portion, but we can also see it's always good when you generate apps with Replit. You definitely want to just comb through. Basically with Replit, you're just going to want to be, it's complicated because on one end, you don't actually need any code to use Replit, but on the other end, the more you're familiar with the creation of apps, everything that you would have learned if you were a software developer, the more you have a good understanding of that side of things, you really can do a lot. And it just helps you a lot as far as how you move through the situation, right? Like for example, I have experience with app development, so I know that we need to check everything and make sure these episodes are correct, the finished airing, you know, the status, all of these different factors need to actually be logical, right? So we click watch trailer. That's why I'm just testing everything out, making sure things are functional. So it has a trailer right here, right? One of the main things I like doing with my apps is having the trailer play automatically, like in a Netflix style. I'll move that up there. That notification is just letting us know we are developing the app and it's not actually being hosted yet publicly. All right, so yeah, so the first thing I noticed, that homepage was off center. So we're gonna go ahead and make sure that's correct. So what I'm gonna do is, and every time we have any issue or any problem with the app and we don't like the way it's set up or anything like that, you definitely want to just catch a screenshot, post that screenshot in the chat, type in the word error, or this is my method right here, just because it's always good to clarify with the AI exactly what you're talking about. The more detail, the better. That's why we're adding a picture and we're labeling our message as an error. And then from there, you'll just let it know what the problem is, right? So the home page is off center. All right, so we just let it know the home page is off center. It should be able to analyze that screenshot, understand what we're referencing, and from there it should be able to get that solved for us. All right, I can see the issue. The home page layout is off center. Looking at the image, the content appears to be positioned too far to the left. All right, cool. And you can see right here in real time. You can see in real time that was updated and that image moved. All right, nice. So get that. It's probably good right here, right? Honestly, I'm pretty guilty of not knowing what to do with this camera. All right, so now I'll replace the storage file. So it looks like it noticed some other issues. The home page layout is off center. All right, so it updated that. Now let me fix the LSP errors by removing the unused imports. Okay, so I guess it had some different added portions of the code that we didn't actually need, right? These LSP errors by removing unused imports. So basically it was giving error messages because there was code that was not being used. So that was just causing some internal errors. And it noticed that by itself. We didn't have to even catch that at all, but it did catch that issue itself and it was able to solve that, it looks like. So let's test things out. All right, so the home page looks a lot better now. All right, so we can just press enter on that and it'll take us to this home page. Okay. So first thing I want to do is get the home page looking a lot cleaner. So anime group picture shonen, right? So you can ask it to pull an image for you or see if it can search online for images a lot of times, but honestly, I found this a lot better just to get your own image. So I'm gonna just save this image that I just pulled, right? So if you ever want an image anywhere on the page, you can just copy that image and save it, right? And then paste it into the chat, and you can just say change background image of homepage to this picture attached. All right, so all I want to do right now is just change that background image to the image that I provided, right? First thing, let's start with the home page. It's the first page that we see, and it's always good to add your fixes and changes or whatever you want to make the app into. Just go page by page, because each one of these pages are actual files in the app, right? So if you go over here, you'll see on the client side, client server is back end, client is front end. So if you ever hear front end, back end, client, and server, so there's the client right here, and you can see the source page. The source page is pretty much all of the different design choices that we have built in here, and there is different pages for each of the actual pages we can go to, right? You can see right here, we have the anime detail page, we have the character detail page, fun facts page, home page, library, and not found. So each one of these pages are actual pages that we can go to, right? And you can even test that, because we can type in, or if we press enter, right, we go to the library page, and the library page should be over here. Yep, boom, right here. So you can see each one of these pages exist in real life. So basically what I'm saying is the client is the actual pages that you would see, and that's why it's called the front end, because it's in the front facing the customer, and the server side would be the back end in technical terms. And the back end is everything about the actual functionality of the app. If you were talking about a car, the front end would be what the car looks like, and the back end would be the actual engine and how the car works behind the scenes. Imagine if you were on stage, and front end would be in front of the stage, people are watching. Back end would be behind the stage, everybody working behind the scenes. All right, so let's check out that home page. Doesn't look like that home page updated. Another thing I really like to do, if you were watching yesterday's stream, you caught it, but if the page doesn't look like it updated, a good trick to use is always try that page on a different browser, because you never know if your cache, your local cache, which is just your data that was saved locally on your computer, every time you went to the page, that might not be updating. All right, so it doesn't look like that updated for us, and that's perfectly fine. I will just let it know the homepage didn't update, right? So I'll just paste that same URL, get back to that homepage, copy a screenshot again, paste that in here, type in the words error, homepage, background did not update. All right. So I'll just let it know that homepage didn't update. And let me check right here. Maybe it updated this instead. Nope. See, I said home, but I should have said root, because the first page you go to on any website, it can be considered the root, because that's like the foundation. It's like a tree. The root spreads out into different directions. So it's always good to say root instead of home page if it's the front page. But let's see if it can update that for us. And we're on library, so I want to get back to that main page. All right, cool. So the front page is already updated. This looks really nice. You can see it has a little bit of shading in here. So the design choices behind the scenes are already still here, but it just cleaned up a little bit on the front end. Or it cleaned up a little bit on the design behind all the shading and everything like that. Instead of that orange page, we got this page back here, which looks a lot nicer. So it's looking clean. It's looking clean. All right, so next thing we want to do is update design on this page, right? And let's go ahead and check out Crunchyroll, because I'm guessing we'll probably want to use Crunchyroll's design. All right, so we are on Crunchyroll, and all I'm going to do is catch a screenshot of this. All right, paste that here, and I'll say error, make the library page design like this. I'm putting parentheses Crunchyroll just so it knows what the page is, because Replit actually has internet access, right? So I can post a screenshot, but me saying Crunchyroll in there, it might actually go to crunchyroll.com and check things out and just make sure that it's catching everything the right way. So now we can see right here, this is what the home page looks like. Really basic. I'm not even sure what the season portion would be for, because we're not in the actual anime. This is overall. So not sure about that. We'll definitely want to get that button changed up. The rating button is also not active yet. But you always want to go step by step, because a lot of times with Replit, it'll actually make changes for you that you don't even ask for, right? So because we asked for the library page to be updated, there's a good chance that it'll update the season and the ratings portion as well, instead of just updating how things look. You know, it might remove buttons, it might add functionality to the buttons and make them work a lot better. But yeah, should be good though. All right, so I fixed the home page centering issue. Here's what I updated. Centered the main content both horizontally and vertically. All right, cool. So it looks like it did make some design choices. All right, let's check it out. Looks a lot better. Looks a lot better. So let's see what we have here. All right, so we can click start watching and it'll just take us to this page, right? So when it clicks start watching, we should have it go to Crunchyroll. But first thing I want to do is have this be a trailer instead of an actual image, right? And I would honestly, I would think it was cool if each of these were a playable trailer if you highlight over the image. So first thing I want to do is update this main background. And the good thing about Replit, it's so easy to use to get started. You can really get creative with your design choices and add a lot of details that apps don't usually focus on because they're so busy trying to just make things work in general. All right, so error, change the top picture to a trailer, autoplay trailer like Netflix. All right, so again, I said like Netflix, right? Because I want it to be Netflix style. So instead of me just saying change it to an autoplay trailer, which it could have used anything for an autoplay trailer. It's a lot of websites with autoplay. But I said Netflix specifically because I wanted to look Netflix style, like exactly like Netflix style of the trailer, because Netflix has a little bit of shading in front of the trailer, right? So it doesn't take up too much of your attention. It's silent automatically. You can't actually click the trailer in Netflix like that. It's a lot of little details in there that we can add in. And I can see now that URL didn't work that they tried to add in. And with these trailers, basically the design is one thing, but there's also like an actual URL. Like when you go to YouTube and see a video and click share, that same URL code, that's the URL that we're using here for this. So it's just built around that URL to make it look a certain way. But yeah, it looks like that trailer did not work. So we'll definitely get that trailer updated. And sorry, I got to step away for 1 second. Be right back. All right, back in it. Okay. So it looks like that URL, like we said, the URL isn't working. Wanted to see if that would catch, but it didn't. All right, so, oh, I see right here. Sign in to confirm you're not a bot. Not sure what made it use that. I've done this method on an app yesterday even. So, all right, so error. Trailer shows error message. All right, so just let it know that trailer isn't working correctly and it should be able to get us an updated trailer. All right, see YouTube iframe is showing a bot verification error. All right, so looks like it's just finding a new method to add that video in. I'll create a video like experience using anime posters. So it looks like it's going in a different direction instead of what we wanted with the autoplay, right? Saying a video like experience, but we can get the actual video experience. And I know that just because that's a good thing about trying a lot of things with app development. I know that this works because we did this yesterday. So it's 100% able to add in that video playback. But this looks clean right here though. It's just not functional yet. But if you click that play button up there, it does go to the page. Okay. So use a database to get the trailers. The trailer. Use an API to get the trailer. Get the trailer to play. All right, so I'm gonna ask it to use an API because yesterday we were able to use an API to get that trailer to play. Just want to see if it's able to do that same method. It should be able to though. I'm not sure if we use the same API as yesterday, but yesterday we did a solo leveling video and we were able to add a trailer in for that, no problem. We also built a movie app, and that movie app was able to add a trailer into the background, auto playing. So it looks like it's trying that now. Okay. Searching for streaming APIs that can provide anime trailers and implement a custom video player. Okay. So it's looking for a new method to get that information in there. But I don't want to dwell too much on the actual trailers. Let's see what else we can add in here. This is clean so far though. I'm not going to lie. This is really clean. I definitely do. I do want to add these trailers in here. That playback would look a lot cleaner. We definitely got to get this design set up correctly down here, and the genres look cool. We should be able to search by genre. All right, so catch up on these returning titles for free. All right, so it says watch trailer, but it's not linking to the actual anime, right? So we're gonna make sure that it links to the real anime so we can play those and get that added in. And so that's definitely something we want to get in here. This simulcast. Simulcast, I'm not familiar with that. I think that might be just having multiple people stream the same video at the same time. So maybe when the animes are live streaming or something like that, I don't know, like a TV type situation where everybody can watch it at the same time. That'd be cool. I'm not familiar with that though, so we can find out about it. I'm purposely doing apps that I'm not studying on that much, and I'm doing 30 apps in 30 days because I want to be able to learn in real time on live so we can see how that troubleshooting would work. All right, so looks like it restarted. It's trying to get the real video information. Let me see if it's able to get that updated. That's so strange though, because we literally yesterday even had this function working. So it's interesting. I still need to experiment more. I want to see how we can use our previous apps to like reference. Like I would rather say, hey, add in the trailer like you did for the solo leveling app. But all right, so it looks like It's saying it made the change, but when you click the play button now, it attempts to fetch actual streaming content from anime APIs. If that fails, it shows a sample video. Let's test that out. All right, so the play button doesn't actually work. We got this play button right here. All right, so what we want to do now, it looks like it has the trailer function, kind of, but we want it to autoplay. Make the trailer autoplay when in the same style as Netflix. All right, so specifically just letting it know we want it to function the same way Netflix does. And let's see if that can get that updated for us. Okay, implementing a Netflix style autoplay where trailer starts automatically when the page loads with mute controls and smooth transition. All right, cool. So we have the trailers playable, I believe. It looks like we have that information built in now, but we just need to make sure that it plays in the style that we want it to play. I just want to be able to go to the page and have the trailer automatically start. I feel like that's a really, really powerful way to get people hooked on the website. And that's a big thing with a new website, right? Like when you go to a new website, you want to be, interested from the very beginning. And this is interesting, right? So this is really clean right there. Simple factor that we were able to add in that just adds a lot of value. So what I want to do now, I want to say update the we're going to update the amount of animes that we have in here, because right now it looks like we barely have any, but I feel like 1,000 different animes being added would be really cool. All right, so let me see how much we have here. I'm wondering if this is all of them or if this is just what they're showing. Let me test this out. Okay, so that search button isn't even working right now. So yeah, I'm gonna just say update the amount of anime in the app to the top 1,000. Excuse me. All right. So I'm just asking it to update the amount of anime that we have right now. It looks like we have like what, 20 in here, something like that. But we're gonna update this to have 1,000 different anime. And all I'm doing is asking it to give us 1,000 different anime. So it looks like the current limit is set to 25 per page. To get the top 1,000, I need to modify the API calls and increase the limit. All right. So what it's doing is the API that we're using has a limit of 25 anime per call, basically. A call is like what it's referencing as a page. But we don't have to worry about that because Replit is smart enough to say, hey, you want 1,000, but we can only do 25 at a time. So what it's doing is it's going to do that 25 call multiple times so it can just hit 1,000 for us instead of us having to do anything manually. And it's trying to find a way around that rate limit. Okay, it looks like it had an error that it experienced. Let me see. Homepage doesn't have any imports for anime hooks, so it's not causing the error. The error is likely coming from the library page, still getting rate limited. All right, so that rate limit is still causing us a little bit of issue. All right, so instead of trying the method that it was using before, it's trying a different method now. Okay, let's see what we get back. Still testing. All right, so all right, it says it was able to get that 1,000 anime. Let's check it out. All right, loading. Oh, it's still updating. It's still updating. All right, let me see. Let me see what we get. Okay, still determining the next steps. I'm seeing some updates here though. It looks like we got more anime. This page, oh, all right, this page loaded, but I'm not seeing any new anime yet, but you can see it's still working right here. It's nice that it lets you know each step of its process that it's in all the time. All right, cool. I can see the system is successfully loading top 200 anime. Okay, Netflix style autoplay, a load top 1000 anime button for users who want a full collection, multiple content rows with different categories. All right, so it looks like it just gave us an option to see the 1000 anime instead of just having all 1000 show up at once, which is cool. I just feel like it's really nice to go to a page and see like the top 1000 anime all listed at once. I feel like that's just a clean way to have the front page of your website look. I see there's a blank screen issue. All right, so it looks like it noticed that problem with the loading. All right, so we do have that trailer auto playing, but I'm not seeing that design change at all. And then we have new. These buttons are not functional yet. All right, so it's still updating. App component looks fine. All right, let me check if there's an issue. So it did find a problem. The backend API is working properly to load data, but there seems to be a front end rendering issue, right? That's what we were talking about originally, right? Like the front end and the back end. So basically the server is able to pull the information the way it should be able to pull the information, but the front end, which is the page that we see, isn't able to use that information correctly yet, but it's still processing that, and it should be able to get that updated soon. See, yeah, you see right here saying, did you forget to add a page to the router? So that basically means that we tried to hit a page that doesn't exist, and that might just be because they changed the build of the website, or Replit changed how the website's designed a little bit. Let's check it out though. See if this can load. It's taking a while to load, which might just be a result of that 1000 different animes, right? But I'm not seeing any difference on the front end yet. All right, so successfully implemented. All right, so I'm gonna just let it know that we're not seeing that change. A lot of times when you get a message that the change was updated or the page was updated, but you're not seeing any results, a lot of times that can be a situation where it's just not, it's not showing what it thinks it's showing, and it has a lot of information prepared, but it's just not pushing that out yet. All right, so what I'm gonna say is I do not see any updates on the page. And I'll let it know there's an error, just so it knows it's not just like a design choice or something like that. When it's a problem, you definitely want to point out that it's an actual error. I'm not sure what this anime is. I don't even think this is the right anime. This isn't the same trailer it was playing beforehand, but we can double check that later. It has the ability to play a trailer right now, which is valuable, and it's going to the right anime still. This trailer is right. So let's see. Is it updated? Nah, it looks like it's just playing the wrong trailer right here. Maybe that's just a filler video for right now, and we can get that updated. But if it's able to play a trailer, then we can just update it to the right trailer to play. Shouldn't be a big deal at all. All right, so let me see what it brought us back. I just want to make sure it actually found a problem. I can see you're looking at the actual Crunchyroll website. I'm not looking at Crunchyroll. It thinks we're on Crunchyroll. That's crazy. This app that we created looks so much like Crunchyroll that it actually thinks we're on Crunchyroll. That's nuts. Okay. So we just got to let it know that we're not on Crunchyroll. This is our website that we made. All right. Let me see. Yeah, I'm not seeing any updates at all, really. I can see you're looking at the actual Crunchyroll website. So let's try this website on a private browser just to make sure it's not cached or anything like that, because I'm assuming that it checked the code and it looks good on that end. But a lot of times maybe the page just didn't update, things like that. Not too crazy to expect that to happen. But yeah. No, yeah, look, page looks still the same. So what we can do is we can go right here and let's see if we can use this select tool and get this name updated. Nice. So this select tool right here is really valuable because if you see any portion of the page that you manually want to change, you can just get that updated. So I can click right there and change this to anime. I'm gonna call it Ultimate Anime. Ultimate Anime. Boom. So we got that page updated, and all we got to do is click Save Changes, and that's able to update our page for us. And we can click anywhere on the app and get that updated for us. So I don't want it to think that we're on Crunchyroll. So now that we got that page name updated, we can just copy another screenshot over, and it should be able to get updated again. Or it should at least understand that we're not seeing those changes that we asked about. Error. Not seeing the update that added more anime to the library page. All right, so I'll just let it know. I even let it know the page that we're expecting an update on, just so it knows exactly where we're looking. And yeah, see, it thought we were on Crunchyroll. You can see right here. I can see you're now on the correct Anime Explorer app. That's hilarious, though. We fooled. Like, the app looks so much like Crunchyroll. Replit thought that we were on Crunchyroll. That's really cool, though. That's a good problem, though. All right. So let me check the status of the anime page and see if the load top 1000 button is properly implemented. I can see the code has the enhanced features, but they might not be showing up in the UI. Like I said, yeah, it made the changes, but the changes are not showing up yet on our end for some reason. So the changes exist. We just need to push them where we're seeing them as a user. But all right, so it found the issue. The enhanced content sections and load top 1000 anime button are completely missing from the library page. Cool. So at least it noticed that problem, and hopefully it updates that for us. All right, it's processing. Okay. What are we getting back? So that load time is a little bit of a drag. But load time is something that you usually focus on at the back end of your development cycle. That's why, if you're wondering why a lot of these video games will have a lot of bugs when they come out originally, it's because the last thing they do is fix those type of issues with loading and things like that. That's why a lot of these games will be like super big, and a lot of people will wonder like, hey, why aren't they fixing these bugs as they go? It's because if you fix the bugs as you go, when you get a new bug, you're going to have to keep going back through that process. So it'll take up a lot of time, but they usually set their release date based on investors instead of actually setting their release date based on the software developers or the people making the game. So that can cause a little bit of problems, you know. All right, so let's see if we see that new button showing up. All right, cool. So right here, load top 1000 anime. Boom. Let's see what we get. Should show us 1000 anime. Should show us 1000 anime. And after this, we're gonna update the search functionality. We're gonna make sure that we can find all of these different animes. Whereas if we click the anime, we can go to a place where we can watch it. And we'll add more details in there, some cool things, you know, maybe a trivia game, something like that. Trying to think of more creative things to add in. If you guys can think of anything creative to add into the game, let me know. Or add into the app, let me know for any app. But yeah. All right, so the page is loading. Looks like it's still loading. That's how it looked loading the first page too. All right, so that processing. And we can even add like a little animation. In the classic Dragon Ball Z games, there was a little animation where it had like Goku charging up for a loading screen. So I think we should add that into this because that's just like a cool way to kind of enjoy the loading screen and make it a little bit more creative. So this is what Crunchyroll has. Each one of these shows you a breakdown when you highlight it. All right, so we have right here, new episodes show up. So we definitely want to add this portion. We're going to add in everything that Crunchyroll has in. All right, music videos. All right, most popular. All right, so they got some good detail in here. The best of the best friends. Okay, so they got these different. All right, I see what they're doing. They just got these different groups of anime, and then they have these random major advertisements for anime. All right, I'm seeing the design. We can definitely get this built like that for our website. All right, so did it load? Oh, okay, it did load. All right, nice. So we got new releases. And click see all. This button's not functioning, but we definitely have a lot more anime showing up here. This is showing up twice for some reason. All right, so yeah, at least it works. It takes us to the right page. So it's still in process. That 1,000 anime. All right, so the see all button should be showing us all the anime. We have the 1,000 anime on our app, right? The 1,000 anime is built in, but we just need to get it to show. It loaded up that information, but all I'm gonna do is Control C, Control V, that image, right? And I'm also gonna highlight the show all button specifically or the see all button, because the see all button is the button that was having a problem. So I'm gonna say error, the see all button is not responding. So I sent in a picture of the page that we were on, and I sent in a picture of the actual button, just a little bit more reference. You know, always add error when we have a problem. If you just want to add a new design or something, you can just let it know you just want a new design. But when you say error, it notices like this is a priority. I can't use my own. You know, it's not, I don't want Replit to just give me a suggestion. I want it to actually fix exactly what we want to fix. So, all right, perfect. I've added proper click handlers. Okay. So a click handler is basically what you add into the button through a lot of times HTML or JavaScript, just to make sure that the button actually works. It's a click handler because it handles clicking the button. All right, so it looks like the page is still loading again. All right, cool. Let's get that top 1,000 anime. Load that up. And let's make sure that see all works so we can see all the new anime we got added in. And again, let me know what else you guys think we should add into the app. I'm just going with whatever creative, fun things I can think of so far. But yeah, if you have any suggestions, feel free. Add in anything we want. All right, so this is loading. And I definitely wanted to have this portion like Crunchyroll does. That's really cool. Seeing the rankings of each of the anime is nice. Definitely want that factor in there. Super cool. All right. So page is still loading. We definitely want to work on the loading times, but like I said, that's the last thing that we work on. Once we get everything done, the last factor, we can just pretty much tell it to optimize. Say this page is taking too long to load and we need to optimize, and it should be able to get that updated for us. We could actually save the data, right? Like we only have 1,000 animes built in. That's not technically a lot. So yeah, it's saying see all and it's going to the top. So it's not showing all 1,000 of the anime. They should all be scrollable, and we need different rows. We need different rows. All right, so what I'm gonna do is say, let me scroll out on this page so we can get a little bit more in the view. Right, so what I'm gonna do is highlight this, copy this image, paste this right here, scroll down a little bit. It tricked me too. I thought that was Crunchyroll. All right, so scroll down a little bit, get this portion, highlight this also. I just want to catch some good screenshots of the page, right? So I can reference it and just let it know we need all of this built in, because we need this whole library portion designed just like Crunchyroll, fast. All right, so I'm gonna just say Error. The 1,000 anime are not showing. Change the design of the library page to look like Crunchyroll. I have attached some screenshots from crunchyroll.com. Okay, from crunchyroll.com. All right, cool. Reference the actual site if needed. All right, so I'm even letting it know, like, hey, if you need to go to crunchyroll.com to see what we want done, even like go to the actual webpage. I'm attaching some images, but pull everything that you can, update the site. I want to see 1,000 different anime, and I want to see them laid out in a Crunchyroll style, right? Because I even want these right here. This is really cool. And when it clicks start watching, it should go to these links. So we want it to go and function exactly like Crunchyroll functions. Because if not, then, I mean, what's the point, right? Like, we're going for a Crunchyroll 2.0 style website, so it has to be better than Crunchyroll. All right, and let me see what else they got in here. So they got the same simulcast too. All right, I'm seeing why they did that. So we got alphabetical. See, these buttons aren't functional yet, but that's just the next step that we're going to work on. All right, it's loading. Considering the options. All right, so now it understands, right? So it's saying that it understands why the 24 whatever wasn't loading, but let me see. Gonna the Crunchyroll screenshots. All right, so it looks like it's redesigning the website and it's working on getting that 1,000 anime to show up correctly. Cool. Two birds, one stone. I usually like to go one step at a time when I'm working on any fixes or any changes to the website. But in this situation, I'm gonna go ahead and do both at once just because it's all on the same page and it's all really kind of like a design choice. We already have the 1,000 anime added in, so just need to make sure that that's referenced correctly. If we were adding in 1,000 anime at the same time, I would have separated those two because adding the anime, we need an API for that. But the design, you know, we already got the anime here. But yeah, seems like it should work with this method. Still processing. Okay. And fix the 1,000 anime loading issues. Okay. All right. So we can see the design changed. A lot cleaner. All right, it looks like it has more anime built in now. All right, full collection. Discover more movies. See. I have new popular right here. These buttons aren't functional though, and I'm not seeing the 1,000 anime. So I want it to statically load. Nah, I don't want it to statically load because that's a lot of information to stack in here. Let me add scroll bar high CSS. Oh, okay. So it's still loading. Optimizing agent memory. When it optimizes the agent memory, that's a really cool thing about Replit. Pretty much every app you build with Replit, it learns from its previous mistakes and it learns from your suggestions, right? So when it's optimizing your memory or its memory, it's basically just reviewing all the information that you've given it so far and all the changes and mistakes it's made just to learn. So it's learning like a real person in real time. The more you use your Replit account, the better your Replit account is going to work for you, specifically for you. So you can really get your own design aesthetic and everything like that. And as you guys can see throughout the 30-day challenge, our first app that we built, the Quentin Tarantino app, took a lot longer than our second app, and our second app looked a lot cleaner because it already knew the style of apps that we wanted to go with. So it's really cool. Really cool having that factor in there. Let me see if it loaded or if it will load. Looks like it'll load though. This is loading up fine. Got that trailer up here showing up. Okay. It's cleaning up the site a lot. It is cleaning up the site a lot for sure. All right. So load full collection, 1,000 anime. All right, let's see what we get. I'm not sure why it only has like 20 anime loaded originally though. I wanted to show all the anime. Our movie app doesn't have that problem. It just, right when you open it up, it gives you all the new information. So, but different APIs work differently because they might have a different amount of data that you're able to use. They might have different servers that they're using, so it might be a little bit slower or faster. So it's always good. I mean, in general, even though Replit allows you to do a lot of things, like create apps super fast and super easily, it's still good to just go through that practice, right? And because it's so easy, you can make a lot of apps, and that shows you what works and what doesn't work. Like, while we were building the Kai Cenat app, I wasn't familiar with adding voice integration, but I learned about 11 Labs. So now I can use 11 Labs to add real voices of real people into the app. Also, I was already pretty familiar with it, but we were able to add in Chat GPT so we can have real thought processes, right? So the 11 Lab is for the voice. Chat GPT is for the actual talking. So now we can add different people and it'll reference their backstory and allow us to have them talk to us in their voice and sound like them and act like them and everything. So this is cool. We need these different anime to show up though. Like, I need at least, I would say at least like a cool 100 anime showing up on this one page, right? So make the library page automatically load with 500 anime showing in different groups like Crunchyroll.com is designed. All right, cool. So I'm just letting it know, we don't want to load and then have to press a button to get the 1,000 different animes to show up. I just want it to automatically show us 500 anime in one page, just like Crunchyroll's design is. Because, I mean, what's the point, right? Like, what's the point of having to press that button to load? When we go to Crunchyroll, everything is already here. And that's really the value. Like, the value of this website, when you go to the front page, you see a nice looking picture. Ours, I will say, ours has a trailer playing, right? Theirs has a picture. Trailer, in my opinion, is a little bit better than the picture, but they have that image showing up here, so you automatically get to the website. You're like, all right, this is a cool site, right? You scroll down and you see a couple of anime, but you can keep scrolling, right? And that value of scrolling, that's why Reddit does that. That's why a lot of different popular websites, Instagram, Twitter, you know, you want to be able to just keep scrolling on one page, you know? And it still does, it does have that view all down here. All right, cool. So I'll give them that. They do have that part of the design. All right, see, we hit that limit. Let me go ahead and update that a little bit. Okay. All right, cool. So, yeah, we hit that limit. I mean, only reason I'm hitting the limit is because we're doing 30 apps in 30 days, right? So we're using this a lot more than the average person would be. But I mean, still, this app right now probably cost us $5 to get all of this functionality. If you were really building an app individually just to sell, I mean, you know, $5, you got an app, like, just, you know, it's reasonable. All right, so app is running again. Oh yeah, when you close out of this page, it does actually shut down the server. And you can see right here, this running button, that's the server. So you can start and stop that. It's good to test that out. It's like kind of like if you have a bug in your computer, you might reset your computer. That's this button right here just allows you to reset the computer. A server is a computer also. Server is 100% a computer. That was kind of confusing me at first. I started as a network engineer where we don't use as much servers, and I went into software development, and that word server kind of threw me off, but yeah, it's just a computer. All right, perfect. I've updated the library page to automatically load 500 anime organized into multiple Crunchyroll style content. All right. All right, so it looks like it got that done for us. Let's see what we got though. Let's see if it looks right. Let's see what we got though. Still loading. Okay. It's going to take a lot longer to load now just because it's pulling in that full 500. But I'd rather have it load when we first get to the page than have it load every time. And like I said, once we get things optimized, we won't have to worry about this at all. But look at this. This is way cleaner. Way cleaner. Everything's looking cool. First thing I noticed, we're going to need those buttons on the side of the carousel. This definitely was made for the phone because in the first document that we used to make this app, we let it know we want to use this as a mobile app first. So the core focus was on mobile, but it focused a little bit too much on mobile and it forgot to add those buttons in. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to check out what the app looks like on the phone. It's always good to just double check things as you're going, make sure everything is lining up correctly on the phone like it is on the desktop. And phone's loading right now. Got that page loading. If you ever are using Replit and you want to test out how it looks on your phone or what your app looks like on your phone, all you got to do is click this little chain right here and scan that QR code and it'll show up on your phone. You can test it out. So it's loading for me now. Loading for me now. Let me see what this page is going to give us back. All right, cool. So this is what the app is looking like so far on the phone. You can see right there, it has that trailer playing. These different animes are showing up for us. And it looks like that slide function isn't working. Oh yeah, it is working. Okay. So I must have clicked on the wrong portion. But yeah, you can see we have all of that built in already. All right. Cool. So we got the apps, you know, it's looking pretty clean. The apps are showing up. We got the different anime. What happens if we click one, right? Takes us to the page. It really works. You know, it shows you a lot of the main characters in the anime, shows you recommended anime that are similar down there at the bottom. It has a lot of a lot of utility. It's a very useful app already. You know, imagine if you were starting the new Tubi or something like that, right? And you wanted all these different users to add their movies to one platform and you could charge them a couple dollars to add movies to the platform, right? So this is an anime app just because I'm trying to use apps that are a little bit more creative, a little bit more interesting to watch build. But you can use this. This is a movie platform app, right? This is YouTube. This is Tubi. This is Netflix, whatever. Like you can use this multi-purpose. And we got this done in like pretty much exactly an hour, a little bit less than an hour. So a lot of progress so far. And yeah, but we are not done. Got that fundamental going now. So we want to make sure the carousels work correctly everywhere, right? We don't just want it to work on our phone. We need it to work on the computer as well. So I'm going to highlight this portion. Boom. Go right here. Paste that. Error. The carousels do not have arrows on to scroll on desktop PC. All right. And if you guys are wondering, carousels, these are carousels. So this is a technical term. The carousels are this portion right here. And usually it would scroll, you know, like a carousel at the county fair or whatever like that. It'll be able to scroll. But yeah, this is working pretty cool so far. Nice. All of these, I want trailers here for everybody as well. Every anime you go to should have its own trailer showing up. And that's the beauty of an API. We don't have to hunt down trailers for anything. We don't have to worry like, oh, do we have this information? Do we have that information? Will it update? Because a lot of things that people don't think about when you're building an app, like my first app, it was a big problem because I was making a movie app. That was my first app. Just wanted to make a movie app to use, have my family and friends and everybody just be able to watch movies, right? So problem I ran into is I spent like 3 months getting all the information set up, taught myself how to build the website, and I wasn't really talking to anybody about it or doing any technical research, I guess. I was just learning as I go. And I got the site pretty much 99% done after a lot of hard work. But the problem was I used images that were not like saved locally, right? I was using all different links for different images and different videos and everything because it really worked. It had 1,000 movies you could actually click. It looked just like Netflix. But basically the problem was all of those different links that I added in. I took a break after I pretty much had finished the app. I was 99% done. Let me wait to get that last 1% done. But I took that break, came back, all the links had changed, and the app was pretty much 100% useless. So literally destroyed months of work. And I fell back from programming for a while because it's just after you see your whole app break down, like I didn't even know where to go from there. So yeah, it sucked, but that definitely taught me a lesson. Make sure you're using the correct database to find your information that you're pulling for your app. And yeah, so it looks like this crashed, but it's still working. You can see right here, it's still working. But yeah, it's always super important just to make sure you have the correct information, the databases. And that's why APIs are really useful, because they update over time. You can see it's loading when we first go to the web page, and that's just because the API is actually pulling real-time information. So the page will update. Like the movie website we made, when we first created the website, it had Ballerina at the top and like a Netflix style, that Ballerina movie, the John Wick style movie. But when I went to the page yesterday just to check it out, it had a different movie up there. I forget what it was. It was like an indie movie or something, but it actually updates in real time. I don't have to do anything to the web page. It just fixes itself over time and adds new information. Like if we have an anime and that anime adds a new season or an episode, it'll all be updating in real time. Make the app once, let it go. And the only thing, if you're hosting this or if you host the app in publicly, only thing you really have to manage is like the server and security and things like that. If any changes happen or any vulnerabilities are reported, you just want to make sure you keep that fresh. But you don't have to actually update how the page works that much, unless you just want it to clean up over time. And that's why, if you're wondering why, that's like a lot of these websites don't actually update over time, right? They usually look like, if you use the website as a kid, you'll check it out as an adult and it'll look pretty much the same. Like GameFAQs.com, Cheat Code Central, websites like that, they don't really update that much. And that's just because they don't have to, right? It works. They just update the security and things like that. And it's just a money management type of thing. Like why spend money updating your site, right? If you're just on a business side of things, why even spend that money if you can just pay somebody to manage the security side and the server side, you know? And that's like more on the network engineering, reverse proxy engineer, things like that. That's not, or security engineer, cybersecurity. That's why cybersecurity makes so much money, because you're a software developer. Once you make your app, you're done with your app pretty much. You can have way less people managing it than you needed to build it. But on the cybersecurity side, you can't let that go. That's mandatory all the time. So if you're interested in getting in tech and you want a job that's going to be around forever and get that job security, work in cybersecurity for sure. Especially at a company that doesn't really, because I've worked in cybersecurity at some companies and they just kind of fly through, you know. Like there might be 5 people on the cybersecurity team, and each one of those 5 people might have a completely different understanding of how the security methods work for the website or for whatever it is. It could be a business, anything. But that's why you get a lot of job security, right? Because if we all have different information, I can't, like, you need me, right? Because if I leave, then all of these different methods that we've been using, I would have to pass them on to somebody, and I have to want to pass them on, and I have to care enough. You know, you might have to hire somebody twice as good as me because they need to hurry up and catch up. You know, there's a lot of different factors to why cybersecurity makes a good amount of money. But it's definitely a good field to go into if you just want money. But it is a lot of stress too, to be real. Cybersecurity is very stressful. It's very stressful, especially when an issue happens overnight. And the thing is with cybersecurity, I mean, we're focusing on software development, but just one more thing about cybersecurity, you got to think about how many false calls you can have, right? Like there's a lot of, like it looks like an attempt to cause a problem, but it might not be a problem. So you have to be aware of all of those, and you might be the expert. And if you're the expert and it's a issue where you could be risking millions of dollars of equipment, you know, you're going to call the expert every single time. So yeah, that's why they make the big bucks. But yeah, so now we're trying to see if that 1,000 different animes portion will load right now. it might load, it might not. I'm not 100% sure, honestly. I'm not really concerned with the 1,000 different animes. We have 500 popping up now, but I do want to just make sure we can make sure the site is fully functional. So it looks like it, all right. I might have updated. Okay. Got a decent amount of anime showing up here, especially for an app built in like an hour. You know, it's looking pretty good so far. But next thing we want to do, we want to have each one of these pages have an actual trailer showing. Oh no, first thing, I was letting this go, but this is not the correct trailer for this anime. So I want to get that updated. It looks like it was using a placeholder trailer, because it's interesting, right? If we click this, or what was it, this? Which button was it? It was, this play button was functional before, and it was giving us the real trailer. But looks like that changed. Try this. Yeah, see, this is showing the real trailer, right? So clicking this button takes us to the correct trailer. And all I'm gonna let them know is error. The wrong trailer is playing. That is not for this anime. All right, cool. So just let it know. You know, it's really that simple. Never really have to code anything. Never have to write any lines. Just let it know, like, hey, this isn't showing the right information. We should get that updated, and it'll get that updated for us. It's interesting because it can pull the correct trailer, and that's a good thing to know. It's always important to know if you can access the information. And then after you know you can access the information, just make sure the information is going to the correct place. It's called half splitting, right? And technology is called half splitting. Like when you're troubleshooting something, you want to start in the middle. So the middle for this one would be that the middle point is like, on one end, you want to make sure the trailer is going to the right direction. On the other end, you want to make sure the trailer actually is able to be reached. So start with one of those sides and then work on the other side and meet in the middle, you know? Like if you had a power outage, you want to make sure you're getting power to your house, and then you want to make sure you're getting power to the actual outlet that's not working. All right, so I'll replace the current hero section with the fixed version. Let me do the complete replacement. All right. So the hero section, I guess this might be the hero section. Might just be a language that they use for the hero section. You know, if you think about hero, you can think big entrance, you know, focus, center. So it might be the hero section of the page. Like this is the portion of the page that's most valuable, right? All right, so I can see the issue. Video API is using a generic fallback instead of anime specific trailer. The API either fails to find specific trailers or returns the same fallback video for all anime. Let me fix this by disabling the autoplay trailer, using anime poster images instead of generic videos, only showing video trailers when actual anime trailers are available. All right, I guess that's okay, but I just wanted to know that like we're able to see the right trailer when we click this button, right? So that'll be the next focus. Let me see what it loads up with. Yeah, it's still loading now, still processing that change. Okay. Let's see what we get back. All right, replacing the current hero section. Still making that change that we were asking about. Consider still references to video player in the library. Okay. Found the issue. There's still a video player reference. All right. So it looks like it's not giving us the right trailer. I want that correct trailer though. That just makes it look a lot more clean. Crunchyroll doesn't have a trailer, but we're not trying to be Crunchyroll. We're trying to be better than Crunchyroll. So I would rather have that trailer in there if possible. But it's also kind of like a middle ground, right? You never want to take too much time focusing on one thing, because you can add like 5 things that might be really like cool to have, right? But if you just focus on that one thing, you know, might get distracted and waste time. All right. What's it saying? Okay, the friend trailer was playing because the old system used fallback videos. Now it only plays trailers that actually belong to each anime or show, or shows no trailer available if none exists. Well, I don't necessarily want it to show no trailer available. I'd rather have it actually show, you know, I don't know, like maybe a generic trailer, something like that. But you can see, look, like it says no trailer available, but it did update the anime up here. So that is updating in real time correctly, which is cool. Search anime. Let's look up. Oh, it's still loading. Okay. Oh, okay. Right when I type S. Oh, look like they got. All right. So we want to make sure. We want to make sure it only shows suitable for watching anime. All right. So right now, I think we should make sure this is censored correctly. Don't want to get caught up on YouTube. So what I'm gonna say is error. Make sure the anime. Make sure. Let me see. Let me make sure there's nothing crazy showing up in here. For some reason, when we searched, it started showing. All right. So make sure to censor the anime to only show suitable for work anime. No nudity. All right, cool. That was close. I'm glad we didn't that would have sucked. Get banned from YouTube or something like that would be crazy. All right, so I mean, we got a lot of progress so far. I really do want them trailers in here, and we're getting them trailers put in for sure. I'm just gonna ask it to use a different API, because the API we're using like Jacan API to pull the animes, but we don't have to use that same API for the trailer. You can actually use different APIs and have them work together. That's always really good, because each API might be good at one thing or another thing. Also, you got to think about it. We have data limits when we use API, right? So you might be using an API, but if you use two different APIs, then you can have more information come to you, because each API has its own data limit. So let's see what we got. I also need to add server-side filtering to ensure the API itself only returns safe content. All right, cool. So now we can get that update. Only suitable for watching. We don't want to get too crazy with this one. All right. Updating the specific server routes to add safe content filtering. Okay, nice. So this is a good situation. Got to remember, always add suitable for watching filters into there from the very beginning. Ran into the same problem with the movie app too. The romance section was like giving us a lot more romance than we needed. So yeah, but it just comes down to really just constantly testing and constantly learning, and just finding out how you want things designed. With a tool like Replit, you don't really have to worry about coding, but you still have to know how to make a website. You're still using all the same steps as someone who's developing the app with software, line by line. You're still doing all the same steps as them, but you just have to understand what steps you need to take. So I definitely would recommend just going through some basic software development courses, or maybe even just watching some YouTube videos or something like that, just to understand the basics. You don't have to know how to code, but you just have to understand the different steps. There's actually a method called Agile that goes through each step of the process of building an app. That's more of like a corporate side of things, but yeah, it's definitely important to know the steps. All right, so now we have that filter in, and let me type in Naruto. So each letter loads, and it takes a lot of time to load. Okay. So I mean, the search method works though. It's loading too long, and that's something we can get fixed. But so far, it's working pretty nice. Definitely want that back button, right? So we can go back to the home. Okay, so it's just the home button takes us back to this page. Okay. and it gives us a good amount of anime here. But like I said, I'm really, really OCD with little things with my design. I need this trailer to play. Like, we can't just have this page knowing that it would look better with the trailer playing. Can't not have one in here. Update the page to play the trailer, to play a trailer. Pull the information from a different API. Pull the trailer information from a different AI or API, excuse me. I'll also add, if no trailer exists, don't use that anime as a header. So we're adding two different suggestions in there, right? So one, I'm letting it know that we definitely do want a trailer playing. So I get that the trailer didn't exist for this. Well, even here it says watch trailer and it says confirm your bot. So that method that it's trying to use just isn't correct. But I also wanted to know, like, hey, if there's no trailer built into one of the APIs that we're using, then we need to not use that anime, right? We have 1,000 different anime to use, right? Why would we use one without a trailer? And honestly, I'm a classic guy, so we might even want to specify that the homepage should only show like the classic animes like Naruto, Naruto, One Piece, Dragon Ball Z, things like that. Just more Yu Yu Hakusho, like more of the classic animes. And we may not even really want it to show a lot of the newer animes, because that's two birds with one stone, right? On one end, the older anime is going to have more information, right? So it's going to have a trailer, versus a new anime might not have a trailer updated. But on another end, it's also more universal. So if you're going to our page, you want more people to gravitate towards it. So having more of the bigger animes, Attack on Titan, Solo Leveling, I think I might have said that, Demon Slayer, just making sure that the big animes are the ones that show up at the top will be a lot cooler. Because it's just a lot higher chance that someone's going to go to the page and be like, hey, they got my favorite anime up here. That's really cool. That's just like kind of like a psychological thing that's below the surface, that when you're designing an app, those things are really important. A lot of companies spend a lot of money and time pulling data so they can understand the psychology of the consumer. So things like that, just like little methods, they go a long way. All right, so still loading. Found several good APIs. Okay. Falcon 71181 API is what it's going to pull from. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. The Jacan API is the one that I suggested in the project requirement document, right? But we don't have to use that. So, just let it know. It's always good to let it know to try different sources, use different options. What you're attempting to use isn't working. Can you try another way? Just little things like that, just to reference and let it know, like, hey, change up what you're doing. Because AI a lot of times can get in loops and it'll just keep trying the same thing. And when you're using a tool like Replit, that really sucks, because the more your AI is used to try and process information, the more money you're spending, right? So you don't want to just waste your money. That's why it's really good to understand what you're going for and give it concrete, useful information that it can use to give you what you want. It's like your employee. If you have an employee and you tell it to clean the floor and you come back and he has a toothbrush and he spent 5 hours, that sucks, right? But if you tell him grab a mop, it's in the closet, go ahead, get to work, he's probably gonna, do a little bit better job, or at least you don't have to worry about it. All right, cool. So speaking of Attack on Titan, I had that up there. Let's see what it brings up now, though. But yeah, it's always good to just be specific with your AI and just have a clear understanding of what you're going for. Like with these 30 apps, I spent a good amount of time preparing each one of these project requirement documents and mock-up images, just to make sure that we could have a smooth process for each one of these 30 days where we're building 30 apps. But yeah, that was definitely the most important part. So this might look a little bit streamlined, but yeah, just make sure you prepare your PRDs, or just use somebody else's PRD and drop that into ChatGPT and say, use this PRD as a reference. I want to make this type of app though. Like, use this anime PRD as a reference, but I want to make a movie app, or I want to make a horror movie app, or I want to make a TV show app, or whatever, you know, just think smarter, not harder. All right, so still loading. There's an error with the video reference. Let me fix the iframe reference and test the new trailer. Okay. So it looks like it was able to find a different method to pull the trailer information, but the iframe, which is the front end portion of the web page that the trailer shows up on, an iframe is pretty much like a frame. It's a portion of the web page design that has a section where you add in the URL and the size and the design for your trailer to play or your video to play. And it looks like that portion of the page just wasn't working correctly. All right, so I've implemented a comprehensive trailer system with verified anime content, created trailer API service with curated anime lists featuring verified YouTube trailers, updated header section to only show anime, and have confirmed trailer availability, confirmed trailers available. Okay, added background video autoplay. Okay, so it looks like it did a lot of work. Let's see what we get back. And the page is already loading for us. Let's go to that front page though. Make sure that still looks cool. So it looks like it's automatically going. So it's not even referencing that front page anymore, or is it just loading before it hits that front page? Let me see. Oh, okay. So it removed that front page that we had. Okay, that's cool. The front page was clean, but we don't really need it. We don't really need it. And this is loading now for us, updating, has to pull all those new animes in. And that's another thing. I definitely want to make sure that, let me see if this refreshes. But I definitely want to make sure that the API, like I was saying, APIs use data. So we definitely want to make sure, yeah, see, this isn't showing correctly. All right, so let me just let it know. Trailer is still not playing correctly. Right. And post that screenshot. Every time we see a problem in the page, all we do is post a screenshot and type in error so it knows that this is a priority to fix this specific thing. Don't just do something else. You know, it just adds a little bit more focus and explain the problem. The problem is the trailer is still not playing correctly. So the more you reference, like we've been trying to fix this problem, right? So the first time I was explaining in a little bit more detail, make this trailer work this way, but by now it understands the problem and it understands what my goals are. So I can just say the trailer's not playing correctly. And yeah, it looks like it's understanding the problem, that YouTube embedded portion isn't working right. And it's working on getting that updated. All right, so it looks like it might have had a way to make that appear correctly. Still building. Okay. All right. Now I've implemented a better approach where the poster image shows as the main background and there's a smaller trailer preview in the top right corner. This avoids browser autoplay restrictions while still showcasing the trailer are available. Okay. Let's see what we get back from this. I don't know. This doesn't sound like what we were going for. Guess we will find out. How's the new trailer preview approach work for you? Okay. All right. So it tries something. Looks like it's trying to find a middle ground or a workaround. It's really interesting though, because I've added in a lot of trailers for a lot of different like apps that we've used. Our solo leveling app was able to add trailers in no problem. Also our movie app that we made added trailers in, and the Pulp Fiction app had trailers added in also. So we've been adding trailers in. Not sure why it's not working now. Yeah, see, this button isn't even working. So I'm gonna say add in the trailers the same way we did for the solo leveling app yesterday. Let me see if it's able to remember that. I'm not even sure if this program can remember. Okay, so it does. All right, cool. So like I was talking about with the memory, I didn't know if it went this far, but yeah, every app that you make with Replit, it'll remember your previous app that you made. It'll remember the previous fixes that it used and everything. So it's able to look at the app that we made yesterday, and it'll be able to reference how it added in that trailer. So it can do the same thing for this. So it should be able to update now. And if not, honestly, like I said, Crunchyroll doesn't have a trailer in here, so it's not that big of a deal. I just really like to try and go for the best possible design choice that we can, you know? So, but we don't want to waste too much time on the trailer. We can still optimize the search functionality. We can add more details. We want to make sure that they have links so that every single anime showing up in here, you can just play the anime pretty easily. You know, they have the fun facts portion here and they have the trailer portion here, but we need it so that you can just go right to playing the actual shows from this point. So yeah, now it has a placeholder trailer, and that's like, I'm like, how are y'all adding this placeholder trailer but not able to get the real trailers in here? Not 100% on that, but it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, so if it's not able to get that trailer added in, which it looks like it can't for some reason. Really weird though. Maybe it's just the data. Maybe it's just trying to pull too much, or I'm not sure. It's something that definitely could be fixed, but because we're building 30 apps in 30 days and each day we want to have a fully functional app, it's no point in really getting too caught up on a trailer. Everybody goes to Crunchyroll and they don't even have a trailer, right? So we can just have these images show up in that same method. No big deal. But maybe it'll work. Who knows? Maybe it did find a way to get things working. So we'll find out. It's that YouTube. YouTube is just, they got these security filters. It's like sign in to make sure you're not a bot type of thing. So it's just, it's being stubborn. YouTube, man. All right, so looks like it's loading. And if we were logged in, we would be able to have, like, if I logged into my YouTube on here, we would be able to have the trailers play normally. But this is an app that people will be using on their phone majority of the time. So you got to think logically, right? If you're a user, you go to a web page or you go to an app, right? And it asks you to download a trailer or it log into YouTube to use an app that's not for YouTube. It's kind of creepy. So want to make sure we look out for the customer and consumers and make sure that they can get a good experience on their end, a convenient experience. Convenience is king. So error, change the website design, remove the trailer, and replace with images from animes like Crunchyroll. .com. And I'm gonna add a quick picture from Crunchyroll just to make sure it understands. Yeah, it's crazy. And YouTube updates their security methods all the time. So it's actually possible that since we made those last two apps, they might have changed some things. And that might just be causing some problems for us. But it's all good. Like I said, these are really first world tech problems, right? Like we don't really have to worry about having a trailer in here. It's not the biggest deal. I don't really go to Netflix and watch the whole trailer, but it's just something nice to have. If this was an app that I was selling and really putting out onto the market, which I'm giving away all of these apps at the end of this challenge, so you guys can take the app and build on it and turn it into whatever you want. But if I was selling this app, I would definitely add in trailer functionality, even if I had to hard code it in or find a workaround. There's always a workaround for sure. All right, let me see what they gave us. Okay. All right, so it looks like it's still updating. Yep, still working. All right, I need to clean up some remaining code issues. Okay, so it's just removing all the back end that allowed the trailers to play and replacing it to make the images smooth. But yeah, next step, we're going to make sure that we add in the actual functionality to each one of these anime that have been added in. We want to make sure that we can get to Crunchyroll and watch the anime from our site. Whether we can embed the video in or just have one button max. My whole thing is like, whatever you want to do, it should be there, or it should be one button press away. Because outside of one button press, it's like, like, what are you doing? You know, like, got to make it smooth, got to make it clean, got to make it fast. So let's see if we can get that updated though. Looks like it made that change for us. The app's looking pretty good so far. It's looking pretty good. Let's compare it to Crunchyroll really quick. So this is Crunchyroll right here, right? We're in a girlfriend. Jeez. Yeah, it's Crunchyroll right here. You see they got the carousel and everything. I definitely will be adding this functionality in here, which is probably the next thing we'll do. Just make sure that every time we highlight one of these images, it should show us a little detailed background on there. Also want to make sure that this is not cut off so we can lower this portion, which we're going to do right now. Okay, so basically just copy that over as we've been doing the whole time. Let it know there's an error and say the image is cut off on our page. Resize to show like Crunchyroll. All right. The 1,000th time I type Crunchyroll, I start messing it up. All right, cool. All right, so I like how things are going so far. And it's always good to pay attention to the different layouts, right? Like I'm noticing right here, the image is showing a lot more clean. But here it's all cut off. So it's called flex. Like there's a flex format that we use with front-end development. When I originally was getting into development, we didn't have flex. So you had to kind of like let it know like, hey, if you're using a mobile device, use this style. And if you're using a computer, use this style. But now there's just one size fits all type of thing where it just kind of proportions everything. But because of that, it can have these type of problems. You know, if we manually set the image, it would look a lot cleaner. But the flex is always worth it. Just getting that flex to work right, because now you don't got to worry about nothing, right? What if in the future we got these VR desktops or something? You want your website to stand the test of time, right? So that flex design is just a really cool factor that we have that can just allow your website to look great on everything. And speaking of websites looking great on everything, let's check out what the website looks like on our phone again. Always good to do that a couple steps in. So if you guys are on Replit, like I said, whenever you're building an app, if you want to look what it looks like on a phone or tablet or any device with a camera, just click this right here and it'll show you the QR code. You can scan that QR code and it'll let you use the app on your phone or whatever other device. There's also a real URL, right? So you can just copy this URL and use it on whatever. But app is loading on my phone now. See what it looks like on the desktop. So I can already tell like they didn't position it right on the desktop yet. But like I said, this app is mainly meant for a phone, right? And on a phone, looks super clean. Let me turn that brightness up. So yeah, on a phone, that focusing. Yeah, on the phone, looks super clean, right? Like, got that scrolling feature and everything. So it's working fine on the phone. Could definitely, yeah, I mean, it looks great on the phone. But on a desktop, it's not proportioning correctly. And again, a factor that you always want to think about is like, hey, is my browser saving information about this web page that it shouldn't, right? And a good way to test if your browser is causing problems while you're updating your website, just use a private browser because the private browser isn't going to pull from your cache. It's going to go to the website like you've never been there before. So sometimes things can just be saved that they shouldn't be saved. But yeah, let's get back in it. Okay, so I'm loading up a private browser now. Just want to see how this looks. See if that image was updated, but we just didn't see it. And it might have been. It might have been. Still loading. It's taking a while to load. Definitely want to work on that optimization. It's really hard to focus sometimes when I'm building these apps in one day, right? Because I got to really remember this is a one-day challenge. So we don't get the luxury of really honing in on the optimization and everything like that, because that can really be something that goes pretty deep. But I'll let it know, like highlight that and just let it know like, hey, still not showing correctly on larger images, on larger screens. The page. Also, let me start off with the page looks great on mobile, just to know that, like, I don't want it to make a change that breaks the mobile side of things, right? So the page looks great on mobile, but we still see issues on large desktop screens. All right, cool. So like we've been doing the whole time, just post a screenshot, let it see the issue, right? And just let it know exactly what the problem is, right? The page looks great on mobile, so don't touch the mobile side of things, but we're still seeing issues on large desktops. All right, I can see the issue on large desktop screens. The image is stretching and showing too much of the background. I need to adjust the background, etc., etc. So it understands that we need this resized, but it is saying it's showing too much of the background. It's not showing too much of the background. It's not showing enough. I need this moved down more so we can see a cleaner image. Okay. But yeah, I mean, so far we've added a ton of anime in here, real-time data being pulled for all of them. We have backgrounds on each of the animes. We have ratings added for all of the animes. We have a search functionality on the web page that updates in real time. Got a lot of good stuff in here. Got a lot of good stuff in here. Less than 2 hours in, a pretty fleshed out app. All right. So it looks like it made that change for us. You can see it adjusted the background position for larger screens, right? That's a part of that Flex integration that we have. That Flex integration can kind of like realize what type of screen you're using, and it'll update that design per screen, or it can just have like a overall. It's really cool. So basically it's like it starts off like if mobile use this size, if desktop use this size, etc., etc. And at the bottom, it has just an overall design that kind of overlaps for everything that wasn't caught up in one of the specific design choices. Really useful, really useful. Like imagine having to go through and say, like, look at every single screen and make sure your app looks right on each screen instead of just having one page. That's why a lot of websites in the past had that m.website.com, like m.youtube. A lot of older sites do still have that, but newer sites, you don't really need to worry about that anymore. It's just like a one size fit all. All right, let's see what we get back though. Still loading. All right, so it looks better, but I think we can just like add more size to it, right? So I'll let it know on desktop, the picture's too small. And I'll use Crunchyroll as a reference. And what I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna use the select tool again, right? And click right there and just change it to Ultimate Anime. Whoops. All right, so Ultimate Anime, that's what we're going with for the name, just so we don't confuse it and make it think that we're still on Crunchyroll. So let me actually try Mega Anime. It's got to make it fit. It's a little bit of OCD in there. Just gotta make gotta make it look a little bit better proportionally. All right, so it looks like it might have made another change since we were doing that portion. But yeah, if you ever see any portion of the website that you need to change directly, you can always just click that select tool, click that portion, and you can like change things. So it doesn't work for everything. Some of these are hard coded in a different method. But if it's just a normal portion like we saw at the top, then you can just change that. You can see the H1 right here. Like anything that's in H1 can just be manually changed with that select tool. Really convenient. It also works for images too. So if you want to change a picture, you can just click that picture with the select tool and drop a new picture in to replace it. You don't have to worry about anything. It'll also resize that for you too. It's really convenient. But yeah. So now that we changed that name, gonna catch a screenshot of this one as well. So let it know error. The image background is too small on desktop. Resize the same as Crunchyroll.com. All right, so again, just letting it know like, hey, screen, the image isn't looking right. So it wasn't getting the hint from the suggestions. So all we got to do is add the actual image like, hey, do it like this. Like we've been doing with a lot of this site. It's always really good. Even if you're not using AI, if you're just manually making a website, always have a functional reference, right? Take a web page that does something similar to you or what you're doing, because I guarantee somebody's made a web page that does something like what you're doing. I guarantee it. So always find a good reference and use the design choices intelligently though, right? Don't just take all the design choice. Like I noticed Crunchyroll didn't have trailers. So we wanted to add trailers in originally right here because I thought that would look a little bit better. You know, I'm thinking, I'm not just trying to take their design. I want to make their design better. I want to optimize. I want to make things innovative, right? But sometimes you run into issues, right? Like with the adding the trailers in for the previous apps we built, adding the trailers was pretty smooth. If we didn't only have 24 hours to make this app, I definitely would make sure those trailers were added, like I said, but maybe Crunchyroll ran into problems with adding trailers and it wasn't worth it. Maybe it just takes too long to load. You know, you got to think, it's people using this app all around the world. So you want to make sure people with slower internet connections are able to get things to work correctly. For sure. All right, this looks better. This is fine. Definitely works. So next thing I want to do, already noticed, want to change this top image to a carousel that has multiple rotating. Top image to a auto rotating carousel style like Crunchyroll with the most popular anime of all time. Boom. So instead of these random animes showing up, I'm not familiar with this anime. I mean, it might be popular. I don't know. But I wanted to show the most popular anime, right? Because I want people to get to my website and feel like they know, you know, I'm not trying to be like an elitist or anything. I want anybody who goes to this website to see an anime that they probably know. You know, if you watch anime all the time, you're going to know the popular anime. But if you don't watch anime a lot, you'll still know the popular anime. So it's just more inviting. And yeah, boom. Like this, we got Full Metal Alchemist in here. It should be auto rotating. I'm not seeing it change. All right, cool. It is updating. All right, nice. Oh yeah, okay, cool. So the website's still being built in real time. All right, so you can see I added these dots down here. Right, Steins Gate, cool, right? So I'm already feeling a lot better about this personally, right? It's like, just feels a lot more comfortable. It's like, all right, cool. I know these anime. Like, this seems like the right web page for me to be using. Yup. And trying to see other factors that they have, and they have a couple of these ads. Definitely don't want any ads, but these new episodes, we can have this new episode portion show up as well. I think this would be really cool for sure. Like we have a new portion. I'll wait for this to load. Okay, so yeah, it's just letting us know it made all those changes. Nice. All right, let's see what we get back. All right, this is cool. Yeah, you can see the dot kind of resize. I like that. That's clean. That's clean. And it gives us multiple options. So these buttons, these arrows are not clickable. And we got to make sure those are clickable really quick. So post that image. And what I like to do, my method is post the image of the actual button that you're having problems with, and then catch a bigger image that has the URL. So it knows the exact page and it knows the exact area of the page that you want to fix. And let me test this first. Nope, still not working. Okay. Error. The arrows on the side of the carousel are not working. All right, boom. And it's always good to have a little bit of the lingo down, right? Like knowing the word carousel makes it a lot easier than just saying a rotating group of images, right? Like carousel is a technical term to have that style. So Replit.com is able to understand that reference and it's able to do exactly what I want. So that's a factor of what people call prompt engineering. And that's good with any AI. If you're using ChatGPT or anything, just know the exact words that you want to use. Keywords like high quality, 4K, 8K, luxury, just keywords just to let it know what you're going for, you know? And it's good to just, I mean, usually you just learn those honestly over time. Just trial and error really. But using your best judgment and understanding that the wording is very important. Just understanding that the wording is important allows you to usually get things done. It's not necessarily difficult. It just takes creativity. You know, it's like painting, right? No one would actually say it's not hard to paint, right? You just dip your paintbrush in the paint and then just paint, right? But it's hard to paint like Picasso, right? And there's a lot of people who can be technically skilled that aren't popular, right? Picasso wasn't technically the best painter. He was just creative. So always think creativity first, and you can have an advantage over a lot of people who get caught up in the weeds, especially nowadays. I mean, we're building a whole app without coding. So what else is there to focus on? All right, cool. The navigation arrow should be fully clickable and functional. Users can click the left arrow. All right, cool. So we got that functionality in now. Nice. Perfect. That's working fast and smooth. Okay. So yeah. So we still can't search really cleanly. So I'm gonna just say highlight that and let it know the search function is taking too long. The search function loads too slow between letters. All right, boom. So we want that search function to load a little bit faster. And after this, we just want to add in the actual links to each anime per image. Like when you click, like when you go to Naruto Shippuden, it should take you to a link that you can watch the movie. Let's check out the trailer. All right, so it goes to the correct trailer. That's nice. That's nice. You can watch a trailer. But it should say like a play button right next to this trailer button where you can just play it. It does add the key characters and everything like that. So it's really clean still. You know, it has ratings, if it's still running or if it finished, has a runtime, has a description right here, and it has some similar anime. We want to clean up the similar anime too, but that's just not that important right now. It's like the last thing we need to catch up on. Little details, little things that help out. All right, so let me fix the search function with the correct implementation. Okay. So it looks like it's loading that up now. Okay. Processing that. And I mean, it goes so fast. It's really amazing to me how fast this thing is able to find a problem and fix it. Like, it's like pretty much instant. All right. So I've optimized the search functionality to eliminate slow loading. Add debouncing with 300 millisecond delay. Okay. Separated search input from actual API requests. Okay. So what it was doing was each letter that we typed in, it was checking the internet each letter. We don't need to do all of that. We can just type in what we want and have it search there. Right. So if we type in Naruto, didn't pull anything yet. Okay, looks like that search function is not working. Let me see. All right, so looks like it went a little bit too far. All right, so error, searches are not showing any results. Okay. Should be a quick fix though. We were already able to get the search working originally, so it should be able to backtrack, find out where the problem is, fix the problem. Boom. Pretty straightforward. Need to debug, found the issue. The search hook is looking for filter query. All right, nice. So it was able to get that updated for us. Now we can search a lot faster too. And usually optimization is the last thing to work on, but that just really needs to be optimized because it was pretty much not even usable. It was loading between each letter and you couldn't even type out your full search because it was just stopping your typing every time it loaded. All right, so the page is updating. The search functionality should now display results properly. Cool. All right. So I think it works now, but let's check it out. Okay, so now it is still loading in between each. So I'll just let it know. The search loads between each letter the user types. This stops the user from being able to complete the searches. Complete typing between loading. So it seems like it kind of misread what I was going for, right? Like I tried to let it know that the searching was taking too long, but it looks like it was just more focused on just trying to I'm not sure what it was focused on, honestly, because it seems like it's loading the same now, but I just want to give it a little bit more detail and explain the issue that we're dealing with exactly, so hopefully it can give us a better solution. All right, you're right. The search is still triggering on every letter despite the debouncing. Let me check the console logs to fix the issue. Okay, cool. So console logs are pretty much like if you press F12, right? See right here, go to console. This is the console log. Every browser has it, and it just shows you the data that the web page is giving out. Pretty much just anything the web page is doing. Not anything, but if something is set up to have a display for the console, then it'll show up there. And it's using that to debug and find the problem and fix it. All right, let's see what we got. Loading again. This load takes so long when you first go to the page, but it doesn't have to load anymore after you get here. And we could easily have it cached. So if somebody has already used the web page, it'll just save that information. But like I said, that's an optimization thing. So that would be at the end of the build. You can see how like the optimization is the last thing, because even with this little search issue, it's been taking a while to get it updated. All right, cool. So we got the search working right now. We don't have to worry about that anymore. It goes through. Let me type in Dragon Ball. Boom. Easy, fast, optimized, smooth. And we got this showing up still. So these images are not sized correctly. So yeah, that's something I'll just let it know. But I'm gonna just post this, let it know to update that error. And while I put in this error, I'm gonna go ahead and search for the actual portion where we want to add in links to each anime, just so we can make sure we can actually watch anime from here, or at least have it really easy to watch anime from here. The homepage images are still sized wrong on desktop. Okay, cool. So boom. And now let's get that functionality working, right? So where do we want that button to show up? I would rather have that button show up right here. Watch trailer, play anime, and have that pop up. And I want each anime episode to show up in a carousel on this page, so you can just click the actual episode and go to it. Okay. Loading again. Getting that updated. Processing still. Yeah, caching this page, this home page, is definitely something that we want to do. And optimization is even like built into a lot of pages, like with Crunchyroll, right? Let's refresh the page. All right, so when you get here, it looks like the whole page is loaded, but it's only loading this top portion. And the more you scroll down, the more it actually loads different portions of the page. So we're not seeing any loading, but it is loading in real time. So if we scroll down here, you can see it loading, right? Boom. So it's a little secrets and tips that people use with optimization. Even like in a video game, right? You're in an open world game. It's not really loading the whole world, right? It's only loading what you can see. And in the background, it's just processing basic functionality. But yeah, all right, cool. So it says the hero page is updated for us. Let's check it out. Doubt it. I'm doubtful now if that hero page is going to be loading correctly. But it's decent enough. Again, don't want to try and get too deep into the weeds on semantics. Just want to get full functionality right now. But it's hard not to focus on it, right? It's the home page. So every time we load it up, it's like the first thing we're seeing. But after this, next step, whether this is perfect or slightly off, I mean, it looks okay. A lot of these can be resized, but it's fine. It's decent enough for now. It's decent enough for now. Let's get that actual functionality working though. Oh, it's the wrong image. Get that image out. So let's click one of these anime and highlight this page, because we are about to add in the actual functionality. So let's click our anime here. Dan to Dan. All right. So gonna highlight this page. Boom. Make sure you catch the URL. That's a secret when you catch these screenshots. Make sure you get the URL in there so it knows exactly where to look, because it's not just using the screenshot. It's actually gonna go to the web page and check out the details of how that page works. So I am going to post all of that, change the individual, and what's this page called? Anime. I guess I'll type in /anime/$, because that'll just let it know the path for each one, right? So we want to give it as much detail as possible so it can make the correct changes. Change the individual anime pages to look like Crunchyroll's pages. each. They should also link to play the episodes. Boom. All right, so that should update really quick. I will be right back 2 seconds while this is loading, and we can watch it load real time. I'll be right back. All right, cool. All right, so looks like it's still loading. Okay, cool. Redesign the anime page to match Crunchyroll's layout. I need to completely rewrite the anime detail pages. All right, nice. So it's really just ripping out that entire page and building a whole new page to look like Crunchyroll's. Now I'll completely rewrite the anime detail pages to match Crunchyroll's design. Cool. Okay. Yeah, it's always nice to have a reference page. That just helps so much. All right, looks like it hasn't touched the page yet. Still processing. Okay. Oh, completely rewrite the page. All right, still loading. So since it's making such a big change, it might take a little bit longer than normal to get that done, but it never takes too long at all, really. I love Replit, honestly. Like, if you were building websites without AI, like, you have to love Replit. It's such a game changer. It's such a great tool to have for software development in general. Like, it's really a game changer. All right, okay, so still processing. You can see it even catches screenshots, right? So it actually catches screenshots of the page and it looks at the page to make sure it's designed correctly, just like a person. All right, so it says it completely redesigned the page. Let's see what that looks like now. All right, so even this page looks different now. That's clean. All right, back to the home page. Let's wait for this to load. We can click on the individual anime and see what we get. And I even let it know, like, hey, we want to actually be able to go watch the anime from these pages. So super important to let it know that, because now the app is actually functional and useful. A lot of people, I mean, when you're building an app, in my opinion, it's always good to start with an idea. From that idea, go with the design, and functionality has to be there as well, but it gotta look right. If it doesn't look right, then people will just bounce right off it. It doesn't matter how good it is. So many people have been taken advantage of because they made an ugly app and someone made a better looking app that does the same thing. People just went with that. All right, so the details portion is cool. The reviews, nice. All right, so definitely notice with the episodes. First off, these buttons aren't clickable. So let's get these buttons updated so that they actually work. And then we're going to make sure that the images are correct as well. All right, so a little bit closer. Okay. These buttons are not linking to the actual episodes on Crunchyroll. All right, so just let it know, hey, these buttons aren't working. Should be able to update that for us pretty easily. And I'm using Crunchyroll in this example just because, you know, technicality, legality. But you would be able to, if you wanted to, link this to like another website that was able to play anime for free if that was your goal. So you would be able to just have this website fully function and embed videos from third party anime sites so you could just watch. But yeah. All right, so it's loading now. Let's see what we get back. It's gonna take a little bit to process. I like this style though. I like this style. And the more like this and everything is cool. I also want to make sure that each one of these anime pages where you can click and get to the full anime page, like each one of these different cards should show you that description and the review in there too. It's the little things. And it looks nice, but it's also like useful, right? Like if you highlight that, you can see even just the rating. That's why they have it at the top, because that's the first thing people will want to look for. But having that rating there, you know, just helps out a lot. It's convenient. The more convenient your app, the more people will use it, the more they'll form a habit, the more they'll keep using it after other apps come out later. So convenience is everything if you want a successful app. All right, so still loading up. Let's see what we get. Let's see what we get. Get into that home stretch now, looks like. Just gotta wait for this to populate. Man, but again, after this 30 app challenge, I'm definitely gonna let you guys vote, and I might go with just what apps have the most views or the most likes or comments, attention, whatever, or we might actually have a vote. But we're definitely gonna take some of these apps that we worked on throughout this process and flesh them out a lot more. All right, cool. So now, oh, page not found. Why is that? Huh. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is just go to the exact page that it took us to, highlight that, and post that screenshot. All right, post this as well, the page it went to and the page that we clicked from. Error. The button led to a 404 error page. And 404 error is literally this page doesn't exist that you tried to go to. It's just like kind of like a backup page that you put into a website if someone tries to go to a different URL that just doesn't exist. Right, so like you can even see here, if I type in /, boom, page not found also, right? It always goes to the same page. It's just a one size fit all type of thing. All right. So the URL format wasn't correct. Happens a lot. So it just needs to use the right design for the way Crunchyroll sets up its pages. And once that gets updated, we should be good to go and have that functionality. So you can see it knows what we're trying to do, right? It's trying to get to the page. It just had a little bit of a glitch and it should be easily fixed. All right, let me click that now. Boom. Got right there. Got to season 2. I'm not seeing the episode though. It went to, all right, so it searched. Okay. Let me see if this would take it where we need to go. Nah. All right. So this ain't what we really want either, right? It's closer. Error. The button still did not go to the episode. All right. So let's see where we want it to go, right? Season 2, episode 2. Oh, that's episode. Yeah. Season 2. This episode 27. Oh, okay. So it's just the labeling is a little bit different. All right. So we're not going to use that then. That might confuse it. The button's still not going to the episode, and I'm just gonna go ahead and highlight this same image so it knows the reference that we're using. All right. And yeah, hopefully it can get that tweaked a little bit better. If not, a backup, we can always have it set up where if you try and go to a season 2 episode, it'll just pull you to, for instance, like it would at least be nice if it could get us here, right? Where you could just click the episode. This would be convenient. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. All right. So it sees the issue. Let's see if we can get that updated. All right. Optimizing agent memory. Okay. Loading. Now I'll create a more sophisticated solution that tries multiple approaches to get users to the correct Crunchyroll episodes. Okay. Crunchyroll uses complex episode IDs that can't be generated programmatically, but the series URLs follow a more predictable pattern. So it looks like it's trying to do what I was suggesting, right? Like some websites, it's not going to be able to link correctly directly, but it is able to find a way to find a middle ground where you can get to the Attack on Titan page. Allegedly, but still not working though. Let me see. All right. So now it knows the correct way to do things, but it looks like it's still having some struggle. Error, still not working correctly. All right, so just let it know, hey, still not working correctly. See if we can get that updated. It's going in the right direction though. It's going in the right direction, so it's looking good so far. I understand the issue. The generated Crunchyroll URLs are still not matching the actual URL structure. Okay. So now it's saying it was guessing the structure and now it's trying to get users to the actual anime content. That makes me a little bit suspicious because I'm wondering, is it using that one anime or is it working for all anime now? You know, like, is it going to only focus on getting that one anime page correct? Because I want it to work for all the animes. And that's an important thing to worry about because we have thousands of animes, right? We don't care if one page works. We want every page to work. So we got to make sure that it doesn't take us down the wrong road there. And honestly, if this doesn't work as expected, I'm going to just let it know to use a different method, try another route, use a different API if you need to, do something else, because whatever you're trying to do isn't working and you need to just try a whole different direction. So we'll see though. We'll see what's up. Still loading now. Okay. Page is still processing. See what we get. All right. All right. Still loading. Yeah, I definitely want to optimize this page, but something that we can touch on if we want to go back. If a lot of people like this, then we can definitely go back to it and add more features. So I'm going to try a different app now or a different anime now. All right. So I see what it's doing now. It's just searching instead of going to the actual page. So what I want to say is use an API to get to an actual link for each episode. It does not need to be Crunchyroll. Any link to play the anime. All right, so now I'm telling it to use an API, right? because if it uses the API, APIs have certain data structure where they're built in a specific way that it'll always give you the same result, pretty much. Like the API is structured in a way versus what this is trying to do now, which is kind of like winging the structure. It's guessing the pattern that Crunchyroll uses for the URLs, but it's not doing the things the right way. So instead of it going back and forth and just us experiencing it guessing, we can just tell it to use an API so it'll pull the exact structure. And I'm telling it not to worry about Crunchyroll because, hey, Crunchyroll is cool, but if you need to use another app, use another app. Like, find a way to get this information for us. And think outside the box. The more specific suggestions you give it, the more it'll have to get outside of its train of thought. And that's good because, like I said, these loops can cost a good amount of money. I'm not gonna lie, one of my first apps on here, it was looping for hours and I pretty much wasted like the whole credit that I had for the month on one day just because the app was just not functioning correctly. But it was a good learning experience though, for sure. That's why I'm so adamant about focusing on making sure that you get out of those loops. Super important. All right. Found the excellent API that has actual streaming links. Okay. So yeah, see, just because I told it to use the API, it was able to look in a different direction. And now it's saying that it found a great way to implement all of that information to each of our sites in real time. Okay, still loading up. All right. See what we get. All right. Looks like it might have worked. Okay, let's try it out. All right, let's see if it still might be cached or something like that. Actually, yeah, I want to try a whole different private browser just to see if anything else is cached as well. It could always be different portions of the page that are loaded in a way that we don't expect when we don't have that cache to fall back on. All right, so loading up. Both of these are loading. All right, so let's try both of these actually. So first thing I want to do, pick a random anime, click it. Jatan season 5. Not working for us. So it looks like it might not have updated. Yeah. So I'll just let it know it's still not giving us what we need. Okay. Error. The buttons still are not going to the episodes. They should. All right. See if we can get that updated. This is okay, right? Like, it's all right. It gets you close, but I want those actual URLs in there for sure. Let me see. So when we go here and we click this, it says part 1. Okay, so is it not allowing it because we don't have the I'm wondering if it's not allowing it because we don't have the actual site logged in, but we're still able to get to the page. It should at least take you to a page where you can log in. Yeah, I'm seeing it has a solid structure here. Each one of these are using the name of the actual episode. It seems like this portion right here is having problems for us. So you can see it doesn't use a name, right? It just has this code right here. And that code might just be some data that it doesn't have access to for each of these animes. So A way to work around that would be to manually have those added in, or have a database of these animes that we can pull, and then have it update all of those. But that takes a little bit longer than one day to get done. So you could call it's kind of like it's called a scraper, and it would basically be able to go to the different web pages and check for the information we're looking for. Like it could try every one of the anime pages and save the URL structure so that we can have that in the database and pull from it. But again, that takes longer than a day to get done. So time is definitely a factor. All right, this is loading up. Let's see what we get. Always trying different animes because I don't want it to fix one anime for us instead of everything. So still not able to get us to the right page. Oh, it's still loading. I can see the issue. The API endpoint is not available. Let me try a different approach with multiple streaming APIs to implement a more robust fallback system. I see that the consummate API endpoint is returning server codes instead of JSON. All right, so it looks like the API is trying to use is not built correctly into our website. So it's getting that updated for us. And all right, so it says it has some fallback URLs that we can use. Okay. Watch on Crunchyroll, watch on Funimation, watch on YouTube. All right, cool. So now it takes us to a different page that gives us a couple of different options, right? So this could definitely be a drop down though. And it just takes us to the front page. And Funimation takes us to Crunchyroll. All right. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to turn this. Well, let me close these out. We want to turn this into a drop down right here. So if you click watch episode, it should just drop down and give you some options instead of going to a whole different page. That's ugly. So what I'm going to say is add this page to the anime page itself. Anime page, episode, button as they drop down. All right, so just letting it know we don't want to go to a different URL. We want to keep it all on the same page instead of a different URL. So we need to fix those buttons. Funimation wasn't working correctly. Crunchyroll works cool. Like it does take us to a search function, which is it's decent for an app built in one day. That's decent. Again, got to keep saying that since we're only building these in one day, there's certain aspects that we're just not going to be able to add in because just time and research that will be required to find these solutions. But long as we can get the link that goes, because this is cool right here, right? Like it searches it right there, and realistically it does pull you like right to that page. So it's not bad. It's just the way the structure is, it's not able to pull that information. This is private information, and these might be randomized for all I know. But yeah, so I mean, it gets us right there. It gets us right there. So that's fine. Like I said, it's always like you want to be one click away. So you go to that link and then you click one button and you're on the Attack on Titan page. That's fine. But I do want this page structured a lot better. I feel like if we had that as a drop down instead, it would be really nice. All right, still loading. But yeah, as long as we can have all those different multiple options on one page, then we should be cool. A light look a little bit bright. Turn that down a little bit. No, actually, let me keep it bright. I like it like that. All right. Now I can see the exact button structure. Okay, it's updated. Should be able to update that page for us. All right. You can see it going into each of these different portions of the web page, and it's changing that design for us. Right. Still loading. Provide streaming options directly within each episode button. Cool. So it clearly understood what we were trying to go for. All right. Anime not found. That's cool. That means the page has changed so that we couldn't just refresh it. All right. Sorry, I can get an anime pulled up and see what we got. Hopefully this is good. Hopefully this is a clean solution. And I mean, click that button and you get to that point where you would search. Like I said, honestly, if I was building this app for personal use, I would just add links through Kiss Anime or something like that. But since this is YouTube, we don't want to do anything like that. We want to keep it cool. All right, so click these, right? Go anime. Let me see. So it looks like it added some other URLs in here to get to the page. So these are not secure connections though, but it did add alternate links. So that basically lets us know that we have alternate links to get to the page. If we were wanting to use them, we could. And it takes us to, okay, so the Funimation button is not going correctly. But we did get that drop down, so it worked. That worked. All right, so I'll just let it know. The Funimation button is going to the Crunchyroll homepage. Error. So you can see even Replit was like, hey, we got other links to get to the anime if we wanted to, right? But yeah, like I said, since we're doing this for YouTube, we don't want to add all of that in there. All right, so let's just catch a screenshot of the homepage so we can see again. Always good to add that extra reference. Press enter right there. We should get a solution pretty soon. Okay. Can see the issue. Funimation button is using the wrong URL. Cool. So just had the wrong URL built into that structure. Hopefully Funimation can at least get us to the right animes, because I mean there has to be some way to link it correctly. Let me correct this properly. Since Funimation was acquired by Crunchyroll and the service has been discontinued. Wow. Okay. And to be real, I'ma just ask if we can add in Kiss anime links for each site. Since this is just an example, we're not actively using this for anything. Just want to make the beta fully functional. So we're going to try and add Kiss anime links in here for each of these anime. Oh, okay, Hulu. So it has Hulu. Okay. Hulu's good. Yeah, Hulu's good. All right, so I'll just let it know the Hulu page link, the Hulu link is not working correctly. All right, so let it know the Hulu link is not working correctly. It should be able to get that updated for us. I can see the Hulu link is going to a general TV show page. All right, so hopefully this can be a wrap and we can get this locked in. Replic's definitely understanding the goal that we have, and looks like it should have found a solution potentially, or something close to it, ideally. But we are at the home stretch. All right. Drop down menus now correctly linked to Crunchyroll, Hulu, YouTube, Gojo Anime, and yeah. All right, so let's try Hulu. All right, so it goes to anime. I guess this is a decent placeholder now for the example we're using. But let me see if we can add Kiss Anime links. All right, let me just see if we can add Kiss Anime links in here just to have that look clean. I just really want this to be able to actually go to each individual anime when we click that button. Feel like that's just, I mean, it really does a lot to know that we can just go to each individual anime episode from here. Oh, wow, it already added. It's adding that in real time. Okay. Let me check the simple streaming.ts file to see the exact structure and add Kiss Anime properly. Okay. So it allegedly is about to have that updated for us, and we may be able to get to where we need to go. Let me try this again. Let me see. So 404. So even the links to the other sites aren't working. Just got to get these links in here. Let's try Kiss Anime. Page isn't loading. So close. All right. The Kiss Anime link did not load. All right. So hopefully it can get that updated for us. I can see the Kiss Anime link isn't working. It's showing a blank page. Let me update the Kiss Anime URL to use a working domain and correct format. All right, cool. So at least it understands the problem, and let's get that fixed. Just want to make sure this app is fully functional as much as possible. All right, still processing that change. And right now, I mean, we have a lot to work with so far. Let this homepage load up. All right. So looks like it understands the pattern that this URL is using. Okay. So let me reload this. All right. So once this loads, we should be able to test this one out. I have a good feeling though. I feel like we might be good. The way that it was able to break down the anime structure. Kiss Anime is not a website. That's why I want to try with Kiss Anime, because the structures for websites like Crunchyroll are built in a way where you are not going to integrate it to another website, because they want people going to Crunchyroll, right? Because they have ads and everything like that. But let's see if Kiss Anime is able to function correctly. All right. And not found. So it's still not able to get us there. Wow. That's insane. That is insane. Still giving an error. Let me try that again. Let me see. Would have gave us a 404 error. Hey, appreciate it. Yeah, it's giving us a 404 error. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to post that here, and error Kiss Anime is giving a 404 error. All right, so hopefully it's able to restructure that for us, right, and get things set up correctly. I can see Kiss Anime is showing a 404 error because the URL format isn't working correctly. All right, so ideally it should be able to understand the path that Kiss Anime uses and get that updated for us. A lot of these websites do build themselves in a way where you can't necessarily just embed their websites into your page, right? Because like I said, the advertising revenue is important for them. So, but let's see if we can get that updated. If not, then I mean, honestly, this is a great stopping point. It's a full fleshed out functional app. We would just need links to the actual animes, but that would be able to be added. Technically, it would just take a little bit of ingenuity. And like I said, you can use a scraper to actually go to each one of the links and pull the information for them. But is this even Kiss Anime? All right, so it's not even going anymore. Yeah, looks like it's just not gonna take. But again, Crunchyroll is a really good source to go to, and it does work to pull up the actual anime information, and you can get right to it, right? For majority of the anime. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this is a good stopping point, right? We are doing these each in a day. Last thing I want to do is update the pictures to make sure each one of these pictures function correctly. Make the big play button on each episode go to the Crunchyroll link. Also update each individual episode picture correctly. All right, so now we're making sure that the actual page is able to update for each individual episode, right? Like episode 1, 2, 3, etc. Each one of these should have its own image, like Crunchyroll does. Wow, that is not correct. Now it's giving us placeholder images. Huh. Okay. So looks like it might be using placeholder images. All right. So let me try and make sure it goes to the Crunchyroll link. All right, cool. So update the images to be actual images from the episode using the API. All right. So last thing, just let it know we want to use actual images, not a placeholder. Do not use a placeholder. Do not use a placeholder image. So that's the last thing. It's just letting it know, like, hey, don't use a placeholder image. Like, we have to specify that because it will a lot of times just automatically go to that placeholder like it did here. But these individual buttons do get us to that point. So much more we could do with this app, but it's just time. Building a different app every day, like we got to make sure that we use our time correctly. I'm also now, though, I'm going to go ahead and search for any other methods that we could possibly use while we're waiting. Okay, individual. So I'm going on ChatGPT now just to double check any other options, right? And I'm just going to say, how do I add in individual episode links for anime to my website with API? With an API. All right. So I just want to make sure, I'll let that load for now, but I just want to double check any potential options that we might have that I didn't catch. All right, based on the research, Jacon API does not provide individual thumbnails or screenshots. I'll add an endpoint to fetch anime pictures from the Jacon API and use those to create unique original episodes. No, pull the episode images from a different API if Jacon doesn't work. Besides Jacon, ask for an API key if needed. So I'm going to let it know specifically, like, pull the episode images from another place, right? And I'm also specifically letting it know, like, if you need an API key from me, ask for it, because a lot of times it will not necessarily go in a direction like API key, because those need to be created, and it might just assume that we should not be creating any APIs or anything like that. It goes for a convenience thing. So it says, okay. Okay. So it looks like, okay, so the credits are up. Let me update that credit link, credit usage. Okay. Get that updated. Okay. All right, so we got that updated, and yeah, I can see it pulling static images now, right? But look, we can see right here, right? ChatGPT was able to give us another option, which is Analyst Graph QL API. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to screenshot this portion of ChatGPT, and I'm just going to go ahead and paste this. So I'm going to go back into the Explorer app, paste that screenshot from ChatGPT, and use this method to add links to the episodes and images for the episodes correctly. All right, so now I'm just letting it know, like, hey, use this method here to actually add the correct information that we're looking for, because we want to make sure 100% that we're able to get that correctly added in. Oh, it looks like it didn't save that information because it was still updating. When you close out the actual app page, like this page here, it'll shut down that server and freeze up a little bit. So just got to let it load for a second before you type in. All right. Use the method in the screenshot to add real links to each episode and the correct images. And I'm gonna specifically let it know the API method. All right, cool. So loading up now, and it should be able to get that for us. All right. So it's always good to try different methods. If Replit isn't able to give you the right answer, maybe ask ChatGPT for some options. You know, you can always just check online, but the whole point of this 30-day 30 app challenge is everything has to be everything has to be automated, right? We're not writing any line of code. We're not searching for anything online. If we can't find the information with AI, then we're not doing it. So, and that's just because I want everybody to be able to do this with zero knowledge at all. That is the entire goal, just to spread the knowledge of vibe coding and Replit and the different opportunities that these platforms offer. All right, I can see you want to implement the Analyst Graph QL API to get real episode streaming links and thumbnails. Let me add this integration. Cool. Looks like it's understanding what we're trying to go for, and it should be able to get that updated for us. Each episode now displays actual streaming information. including official episode titles, thumbnails, and direct links to legal streaming platforms. The system automatically detects available streaming services and uses real episode data instead of generating placeholders. Nice. So, sounds like it did what we were looking to do. Allegedly. Still not seeing any changes though on the actual web page. Let me try on a private browser just to verify. But looks like it wasn't able to do what it was trying to do. It might have made some changes that just didn't show up yet. And might just be the changes exist in the back end, but they don't exist in the front end. So I'll just let it know the page still looks exactly the same. No changes are showing on the page. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and post a screenshot of that page. Error. No changes are showing on the page. All right, cool. So should be able to get this updated for us, but we'll find out. We will find out. All right, I see the issue. The AnyList API integration isn't showing changes because the data might not be loading properly. Okay. Okay. This anime Bleach has empty streaming episode array, which means no streaming data is available. Okay. So looks like a lot of the anime that we have on here don't exist in that API. So I'm assuming some of them do, but just not all of them. So that means our site may work for certain anime and not for others, right? So we have some options from there, right? We can add multiple APIs. Again, like I said, we can use something called a scraper to scan the website. And this is what I would do, right? Like if I was going to flesh this out into a full-fledged app, first thing I would do is I would build a scraper that's able to comb through anime websites like Crunchyroll or Hulu or things like that, pull all the URLs, compare that. Or first off, I would find all the anime that we have in our server, right? Use a scraper to pull links for all of those, add that to a whole structure, a file, and I would just give it that file and say, hey, update all the URLs to these. So that would be the way that I would do it if we were going to use this app full time. But since we're only using this app as an example, we don't want to do all of that because that's not something that's possible to be doing in 24 hours of time. We would have to design that scraper and get that out here. But again, this is just one of the 30 apps that we're building, and honestly the functionality is there. Getting the links to the web pages, that's the easiest thing, to be real. Takes a little bit of time, but the design, pulling all the information to find the individual animes, finding all the details, the ratings and all of that, having these individual pictures for each anime show up correctly, that's really valuable. So you can see all of these are updating now. All right, cool. So let's see what happens when we click watch on Crunchyroll. It still goes to these style of links. So the images are showing correctly now, which is really nice. Really, really nice. But last thing we want to do is we want to get the correct links showing. So this is really good, but it's not what we need yet. It's getting closer though. The episode button still does not go to the exact anime page. Boom. All right, let's see what we can get. Let's see what we can get. Hopefully this is able to flesh things out and get that final bow on this app, and we should be good. I can even see different factors I would want to add into here, right? Like this top portion could have a little bit more aesthetic, like have a little anime image somewhere, an icon or some type of representative. We could also have the background image be something cool in the anime field. The simulcast button isn't really doing anything really, right? Like the new button doesn't work yet. Alphabetical doesn't work yet. So it's a lot of different factors that we can add in. But as a front, as an example of what you can do with Replit in 24 hours, as far as building an anime app, it's pretty powerful. Pretty powerful. Looks a lot better than majority of the anime websites, I would say. All right, let me check the exact text in the hero section and update it as well. Okay. And also, we're going for public databases, right? But say, for example, you were somebody who had a lot of anime, right? And you were just trying to look for a local file server to host your anime. Something like this could be used as a local file server. Like there's a lot of different options. There's a lot of different options you can do with these type of things. For sure. Like why just go to your normal like video player like VLC or something on your desktop when you can just have a full fleshed out anime app that you can use whenever. You can even host your files in a public storage, right? And have this website be the link for your own personal website if you wanted to. But yeah, it's a lot of options you could do with these. Successfully implemented direct streaming links for anime episodes, created streaming link databases. Okay. So it looks like it was able to finally get that done for us. Let's test it out though. But yeah, we're closing on the 3-hour mark. So I feel like this is a good point to wrap things up once we verify if those links are working correctly or not. We do have the Crunchyroll auto search function, and we have links to Hulu and things like that. So yeah, let's just see what we got back. Adding that new API, it should technically, from what we were seeing, it should be able to get that information for us now. Whoa, Cowboy Bebop not found. What? All right, so Vineyard Saga is here. All right, Attack on Titan not found. All right, so it looks like it might only be pulling anime that it was able to get with that new API. So last thing I want to do is make sure that all of the anime are getting pulled up correctly. Because again, with that Crunchyroll link, it's decent. It's decent. It could be a lot more capable, but to be building the app in 24 hours, you know, or technically realistically 3 hours, it's pretty fleshed out. Imagine if you took a week and just worked on this one project, right? You could have a crazy project that you could definitely either sell or do whatever with it. Yeah, it looks like it's still loading now. Huh. The website might have crashed. Let me see. I don't think it really crashed. I think that page just didn't update. For anime like Bleach, clicking episode buttons now take users directly to the actual anime series page on streaming platforms. So let's test out Bleach then. Let's test out Bleach. All right, still loading. But even if you wanted to, right? Like, say for instance, you had 1,000 anime, right? Like for one person to update some paths to different websites, like I could go to each Crunchyroll webpage for the anime, right? And just add a link into the into this site from there manually. There's 1,000, right? So that's a lot. But if you took like a day or two, you could get that done pretty easily. It's not that big of a deal, realistically. It sounds big, but in reality, copy and paste in some links, you could probably do 100 in like 30 minutes, right? Like it's not a big deal. It'll take you less than a minute to copy and paste a link. So that is something that would have been possible. But again, we're doing everything 100% with AI. But just think about it. Like in a situation where you were able to get your entire front end completely built out, everything is functional, everything is working, it's pulling real-time data, right? All these different animes are being updated real time. And all you have to do is copy and paste a couple of links. Like that's not really a lot to ask for. But Let's see what we get. This is still going. Oh, this is going to Attack on Titan. So this is completely wrong page. But let's see. It said it updated that Bleach. Let's see if it really did update Bleach though. All right, so not going to the correct link. Nope. All right, so just as an example, what we're going to do is we are going to go to, let's check out, let's see a popular anime, right? Where's a popular anime? Spirited Away. Popular anime, okay. So we click play on that and it'll get here. Spirited Away. I think it looks like Spirited Away isn't even on Crunchyroll. So that might be a problem there for us. But let's find an anime that is on here, right? So let's say Dan. All right, so I could easily copy this link, right? Go here, type in Dan. Okay, it did update that correctly. All right, cool. So we could go here and I'm gonna click watch episode 1, click select, click Crunchyroll, drop down menu item. Okay. Let's see what it's doing behind the scenes. All right, so you can see anime title. This is the path that is creating the URL. Constant URL, streaming link, parameters, Hulu, anime title, right? So it's looking on Hulu for that anime title. And let's see if it works. It might actually work then based on how this is working, because I think Dan does exist on Hulu. So let's see. Still getting to the front page. I think we just have to sign in, so we're not even able to see it fully. Yeah, that's what it looks like, because it is trying to go to the exact anime, but it's all good. All right, so let's since we're 3 hours in, let's see how far we got, right? Let's see how far we got 3 hours in. Loading up the full page now. Boom. Still could use that optimization. I'm not gonna lie, so far this app, the movie app, the Kai Cenat app, and the cloud, I mean, honestly, a lot of the apps that we've been building so far through this challenge, I really want to go back to. Really, it's hard for me not to go back to. Last night, I'm not gonna lie, I started working on that movie app after hours just to try and get things a little bit more updated. But so far, all right, let me move that right here. In 3 hours, right, we were able to get a full web page, right, designed really close to Crunchyroll. This is Crunchyroll right here, and this is what we have here, right? This works perfectly on your phone, and it works on desktop. And we click load more anime, because like you can see on Crunchyroll, right? Scroll to the bottom, it says view all, so you can see more anime there. So we have that on our website also. Let's see what happens when we click view all. It'll just populate more anime for us to check out on the home page. Okay. Boom. Still loading. That optimization, man, if we had more time, man, give me another 2 days and I could really have this running like butter. It could look so much better. But you'll see after this 30 days, the next thing we're doing is we're picking one of these apps and I'm going to be building it out for a week and just fully fleshing them out to add 100% functionality and everything, and showing that next level of process that we can do. Still loading. Hey, appreciate it. Appreciate you. But yeah, it's still loading now, man. These things. All right, that loading. All right, cool. So you can see right here. Now we have all of these different extra animes showing up. We got the carousel and everything like that. And If we click any of these individual animes, say search on Crunchyroll, it'll just pull it up right there, right? So dan right there. And then all we got to do is click one more time. Boom. Now we can check out any of the episodes. So it does work. It's functional. You could repurpose this for a local server. You could repurpose this if you wanted to just, like I said, you can use a scraper to pull links for individual episodes. You know, you could make a program with that. Honestly, you could use Replit to make the program for you, or ChatGPT. Just build a web scraper that can pull anime links for these websites. You know, it's not that deep. You could even use ChatGPT to manually do it for you. But yeah, we have that functional. We can search different animes up and it'll pull up for us all the different animes. You can see every time we click an anime, it gives us a little breakdown. It gives us a rating system right here, the year it came out, the amount of total episodes, the rating. You can add it to the watch list. This functionality wasn't built out for us yet just because we would need a database for that, but we could add a database so we could save personal watch lists. You could have like the structure is built already where you could have different accounts and everything like that sign in. So there's a lot you can do with this. There's a lot you can do. You can see it has the more like this, right? And we can pull up different animes that are similar to Naruto. Let's check out Bleach. It takes you right there, right? So you can go to the episode page and it shows you all of these different episodes, each with their own style that you can check out. So yeah, like I said, ton of functionality. So Bleach isn't on Crunchyroll, looks like. So there is still features that we could update and optimize and things like that. But for 3 hours of work, this is pretty amazing in my opinion, to be real. Like, I honestly think this is something that, like I say every time, this is something that everybody should be using. There's no reason why you shouldn't be checking it out. It's free to start. You can just get on here and start building whatever you want. And again, at the end of this 30 days, I'm going to be providing all of these PRDs, all the mock-up images, and all the final apps that we made, so you can take whatever one you want and turn it into whatever you want. But yeah, so appreciate you guys watching. Also appreciate a like or a subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content. But outside of that, this is Military Grade Automation. I'm out for the day. Y'all have a great one.
Mm-hmm.